Welcome everyone to an all-new episode of the Comic Multiverse, where the worlds of nerd meet. And if I sound a little slower today, a little bit more morose, there's a reason for that, and that is, as we
Joel got kicked in the head by a horse.
Hey, I was playing the Pokemon Go, and there was a Ponyta in there, but it wasn't a Ponyta, it was a real horse.
Can't tell what's real and what's Pokemon, man.
I know, right? The walls of reality are breaking down. But no, seriously though, as we sometimes do on this show, and as you might have been able to tell, the roles have been reversed this week. It is now actually super early where I am recording this show, and super late where Matt is right now. So if he sounds a little bit more energetic and a little bit more with it, that's why. You think Matt's the quiet one, but that's only because we record at stupid late hours, because he's nice enough to get his Australian schedule around our North American schedule.
I am.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't, you guys will come in and invade us for oil or fuel or whatever.
Hey, as soon as we find some oil in the Australian outback, we're coming. Also, that's not me, that's the other guys. That's my crazy neighbor to the south. So how's your week been, Matt?
Pretty cool. We had Star Wars Celebration, so like
yeah.
the weekend for me was taken up pretty much just chilling and watching the live stream of it.
That's nice. Pretty
fun.
I probably would have done that were this week not my birthday and I not running around doing birthday stuff. Actually, it's kind of funny. I turned 24 this week. This is the 24th episode of the podcast. What?
Oh, what?
What are the odds?
We timed that. We timed that somehow.
Some way we figured that out exactly when we launched the first Comic Multiverse episode, and when we had that fuck up episode where we kind of did two in a row. It was all a game. It was all a long con just for this moment.
It was. It all pays off for this like one minute spiel we're going on about.
Yep. That's what it does.
That's what we do this for.
That's what we do, just for weird little coincidences like this. Geez, man, 24 episodes. We've been doing this pretty solid. I guess we're gonna have to do something special for 30.
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe I should finally learn how to do YouTube live streaming, and maybe we should like live stream an episode for 30 so people can
I
talk
actually
to us.
just enabled my channel to live stream.
Yeah.
I like click the button and I'm like, yay, okay, that's cool. I'm not gonna live stream now.
It's harder than you think. I've screwed around with it because you gotta like set a time, and you gotta get like your OBS or your whatever it is working just right, and you gotta plug all the stuff. It's much more difficult than it seems.
Yeah, I imagine it is.
Worst case scenario, I'll just do what I did before, and we'll do like a video something for 30 once we get there.
Yeah.
30th episode spectacular. But yeah, I mean, beyond that, not much else going on. Good week. My little cousins came up yesterday because of my birthday and everything, and they're just old enough now to understand that I work on YouTube, and they had like a million YouTube related questions. So how do you make your money? Ad revenue? Do you make the ads yourself? No, I don't even know what the ads are most of the time.
You just got like ads for like bull shark testosterone and Hungarian mail order brides and
Yep.
everything all over your videos. Like,
Yeah.
hey, check out Joel's Batman review. You got Hungarian mail order brides on there.
Clearly, YouTube knows my audience very, very well. That's what they want. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go online, gonna get me a Hungarian male bride, some bull shark testosterone, and see what's happening in the new Action Comics. They're a diverse group, my fans, and I love them all, crazy as they are. But yeah, it was funny talking to them. It really hit me there. I'm like, man, you know, the paradigm, or like the whole, like the whole paradigm of fame has really changed for this generation who has grown up in a time of only ever being YouTube and only ever seeing YouTube celebrities and everything. Like, they probably don't give a shit about like Richard Gere or like Bruce Willis. To them, you know, the PewDiePies and the Smoshes are the real celebrities.
Yeah, I actually had a similar conversation with some younger people I know that I go and work with, and like they're like shooting Thor here,
Nice.
and it's like 40 minutes away from where I live, and like Mark Ruffalo and all that are like going to like radio stations and
Oh,
like just
cool.
going out about the place and everything, and I'm like the only one geeking out about it because I'm like, oh, I could run into them somehow and everything, and everyone's like, who cares? There's just people. I'm like, dude, Thor, Hulk,
Yeah, these characters, these
actors,
amazing characters.
amazing actors.
Clearly, and I mean, I guess, bully for the YouTube people for figuring this out. I guess if, like, you're more of a constant in people's life than Mark Ruffalo and then, Hemsworth or anything, people will assume you're much more famous than you actually are.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, an actor, you never know how many people goes to see an actor's movies, but a YouTuber, you always have the views and the sub count so you can actually see and put, like, a metric to it.
Wonder if they'll do that for movies. Like they'll have like one of those things on the floor that when you step on it, like records someone going past or something.
You joke about that, Matt, but I could actually see a future where that happens. Man, Ghostbusters 2 viewed this many times.
There's not going to be a Ghostbusters 2.
No, of course there's not. But yeah, speaking of which, of all the reviews I read of that movie, apparently because we were mentioning Hemsworth there, everyone freaking loved Hemsworth. They said Hemsworth is funnier in that movie than he is in the Marvel movies, which is saying something.
He's a pretty good comedian. Have you seen the new Vacation film?
Oh, yeah, I have actually.
Yeah, he's in that, and he's hilarious in that.
Who is he in that again?
He's Rusty's sister's husband, I think.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's right. He's like a rancher, and he has a whole scene there. Yeah, he is funny in that. Yeah, wow. He's typecast as like the big, tough, pretty boy, but yeah, he's really, really funny. He should do more comedies.
Yeah, I imagine he will be.
Good for him. So, yeah, I guess with that we can get to the news of the week. There was actually a lot of interesting stuff happening between, comics and between Star Wars Celebration. We want to cover it all. Of course, last week, the day after we did our show proper, as is often the case for the comic multiverse, because we have the show recording on Monday like we do, but Tuesday, all of Marvel's new Marvel Now titles, the ones that they were no doubt going to take to San Diego Comic-Con, which is coming up very soon, leaked out thanks to Bleeding Cool and Rich Johnson.
Yeah, I don't know whether you're on Twitter for this.
Oh, I think I was. I think I saw it.
Him and Dan Slott were going at it, and it was amazing to watch.
The endless war, by God, it was like the comic nerd equivalent of a knife fight in the street, is what it was. It got really ugly really quick, and I could understand kind of both sides of the argument, but it's like Slott, I love you, Slott, but you can't argue with Rich Johnson because he knows that the next time Marvel, your company, wants to promote something, they're gonna take it to him. That's what happens when you're the biggest. He's literally like, fuck the rules, I have money.
He has fuck you money.
He has fuck you money, and he knows he's in a perfect position. Like, I'm not saying leaking all these titles was right. I'm not saying, the perpetuation of spoiler culture is right. But the fact is you can't beat it, though, because people are always gonna want to know.
Yeah, that's true.
And like that, too, where he's like, can you believe that horrible stuff, Rich Johnson? Yes, I can believe it, actually. I'm sure he made a nice chunk of change off it, and I'm sure he'll do it again in the future.
Oh, yeah, he did it with DC Rebirth, didn't he?
He sure did. He was one of the first people to spoil the twist for Rebirth and everything.
Yeah, that wasn't cool.
No, it wasn't, but I can understand why he did it, and he probably made a lot of money off the back of it.
He probably made a lot of money off of that, yeah.
And again, too, the only reason he was able to do it was because you guys sent him a press thing. If you want that to stop sending him press things.
Yeah, and that's like what Dan Slott was like getting at. It's like, Marvel's gonna stop sending you stuff because you're like leaking all this stuff, and he's like, fuck you, I've got fuck you money.
Basically, it's like that old song said, you do it to yourself, and that's why it really hurts. You do it to yourself. Thank you for that one. But yeah, there was a whole giant list of titles. I've made a video about this. I've talked about this endlessly on other stuff. You haven't had a chance to talk about this, Matt, as far as I know. What are some titles from the leaks that you are really excited for?
Oh, there were so many.
There really was.
So many. I'm interested that we're getting Richard Rider back as Nova.
Yeah, yeah, you might actually start picking up that book. Now, I've liked the whole Sam Alexander saga, even though I've jumped off it. I think one of its biggest problems is that we're these multiple runs in, and he still is nowhere closer to finding his dad than he was before.
Yeah, and this looks like to be the thing. Like, well, fuck it, we'll just bring him back.
I wonder, are they finally going to bite the bullet and be like, hey, somehow, someway, Richard Rider was actually Sam Alexander's dad all along?
No, well, I think they're going to bring him back in that series, and he's going to stop being Nova, or at least for the time being, to allow Richard to come back and be the proper Nova, and then he's probably going to be a sidekick or something.
Well, he's already going to be a member of the Champions team, so it's not like Sam's going away or anything. He's just going to be over with the Young Avengers. Or I say Young Avengers, but they're not. They're the Champions, but come on, they're the Young Avengers, too. He's going to be hanging out on their team. Some villains got some books, and I think that's interesting. We're getting a Kingpin book and a Bullseye book.
Yeah, I guess that Kingpin Civil War book did pretty well.
I don't think it did. I just think they greenlit
Really?
this off. No, I don't think so. I think they just greenlit it off the back, off the success of the Daredevil TV show. And if you look at the Kingpin on the cover of that book, he's just Vincent D'Onofrio. So it's Vincent D'Onofrio's Kingpin, and all I can say is hell yeah.
Yeah, I'm for that.
Yeah, even the pitch is interesting because, this is Kingpin who's still come back from exile in San Francisco, and he's trying to take it all back, man. He's trying to rebuild his empire. And I'm like, I will read the hell out of a Marvel-based crime book. I'm all about that.
Yeah, it'll accompany, like, a Punisher and stuff like that.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, make it like a Punisher thing, but from the other side of the fence. Instead of stopping crime and villainy, he's setting up crime and villainy. The big stinger at the end is like, yes, I've set up a drug lab. This will be good. Time to fill the city with drugs. And that's where it ends. Make it like The Wire in that regard, like those storylines when you would follow the drug dealers. Make it like that, but with Kingpin.
That could be really cool.
Yeah, Wire in the Marvel Universe, I'm all about it.
Yeah.
Make it like those great things like Kingpin, like, I'll go away for a bit and y'all motherfuckers forget about Fisk, but nobody forget about Fisk. This is my yard. I'm all about that. Bullseye is going to be interesting, too, as a book, because as I've said it before and I'll say it again, Bullseye is like one of the few comic book villains, especially one of the few Marvel villains, where I'm like, this guy is absolutely 100% irredeemable and repugnant, and I wonder how they're going to write a book about him.
Yeah, I haven't really been keeping up with what he's been up to and everything, but...
He was crippled, and then he was killed by Elektra. So he's going to work...
Now he has his own miniseries.
Yeah, so clearly they got to work some resurrection magic, because he was fucked up at the end of Daredevil, and then, I'm pretty sure Elektra killed him.
Huh.
At the end of her book, so they're gonna have to work some magic to bring him back. Not like he hasn't come back from the dead before. Not like all these Daredevil characters don't come back from the dead millions of times.
That's true.
The Hand probably did it.
It's always the Hand.
Because the Hand always does it. So yeah, that one looks like a lot of fun. Avengers now is going to be Sam Wilson, Jane Foster Thor, Hercules.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hercules is an Avenger again, Vision, and Doctor Doom, the infamous Iron Man, who we get a little glimpse of his suit. It's kind of in shadows, but it's green and gold.
Well, one of the artists, I think Malieve, actually released like concept art for him, like his designs and everything, and it's the Iron Man suit that's the one at the moment, that kind of knight-looking one, but it's all silver. And he wears a dark green cloak over it.
Oh, I missed that one. Yeah, this one must be a little different. Or maybe he wears a different one for the Avengers team, but yeah.
Yeah.
Some other weird...
Maybe one's a Doom bot, maybe.
Ooh, that'd be cool, where he's like, Tony Stark stretched himself too thin being multiple places at once, but I have Doom bots.
Yeah.
I can be everywhere I need to be. Some other interesting ones where I'm like, these aren't going to last very long. Apparently a bunch of the Mercs for Money are getting solo series now.
Yeah.
Fool Killer's getting one, James Bourne is getting one, and Slapstick is getting one, and I'm like, oh, these will only last 5 issues apiece at best.
Yeah, and then they'll probably be collected in one book.
That's smart, and then that book will probably be popular.
Yep. These will probably be really good books.
But no, I mean, I don't know what to think about this. You know, did that Mercs for Money miniseries sell so well that they were thinking to themselves, "Oh man, who was the popular one? Who was the standout here? Quick, make books out of as many as you can." We'll figure it out. We'll figure out who the moneymaker was, guys. It was Deadpool. No, it couldn't possibly be. Deadpool has his own, but guys, it was Deadpool though. And yet, hilariously, when you actually look at the Mercs for Money solo series, it's a completely different team now because in Deadpool, currently that team is getting dismantled. They've actually turned against Deadpool because of Civil War, and it looks like he's going to try and kill them. Actually, wouldn't it be funny? He kills everyone who doesn't get a book. Only Slapstick, James Bourne, and Fool Killer get away. Because Deadpool killed all the other ones. Actually, I'd be fine with that. That'd be a funny twist, actually. He kills Stingray and the Monster Man.
And it's just like, go off into your own books.
Actually, the actual Mercs for Money team I like way more than the team we have currently because it's Negasonic Teenage Warhead, of course, because of the movie, Domino, Hitmonkey, who seemed to have survived his time over on the Monsters of S.H.I.E.L.D., so now he's on this book. Man, just jumping back and forth to quirky teams. And Robot Man. I'm like, see, I'd much rather read about this team. This looks like a much more interesting team than the Mercs for Money were.
Yeah, really unique team.
Very unique team in terms of age, power set. There's a monkey there's two monkeys with guns actually on this team. What more do you want than monkeys with guns? I don't know what else you want. What else stuck out to you, Matt? Because not all of these are new titles. A lot of these are ones that are continuing more or less. Hey, anything that made money gets to continue.
Well, after the events of Civil War issue 3, the Occupy Avengers issue 1 stuck out to me.
Oh, yes, from David Walker, the guy who's currently writing Power Man and Iron Fist, the dude who's written a bunch of Shaft comics. He's writing like a socially conscious Avengers team starring Clint Barton.
Yeah, a very, I guess, popular character at the moment.
Yeah, definitely in the fallout of Civil War 3. It's funny, Hawkeye's holding down that book, but the actual Hawkeye book is now going to star his sidekick protege partner, Kate Bishop, so she's finally taken the Hawkeye name completely and running with it in a book.
Awesome.
Yeah, she deserves it. It's funny, she gets her own book, and she's not a member of the Champions team. You would assume they would throw her on Champions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then again, I guess she doesn't know those kids. She's like, I was an original Young Avenger, you upstarts, you upstart millennials.
You plebs.
You plebs. I was doing it before it was cool. No, literally, I was doing it before it was cool. All my Young Avengers books keep getting canceled, but I was inexplicably popular and got to stick around. Ask any of my teammates. Ask Hulk and Wiccan, or Hulkling and Wiccan. They don't have a book. Okay, technically they're in New Avengers, but they ain't getting solo series anytime soon. Ask Patriot and all those other guys who were on my team. But yeah, that one looks like a lot of fun. I feel like I'm missing some. There were so many.
I know at least 3/4 of the Guardians of the Galaxy are getting their own solo series. I know Gamora's getting one. Star-Lord's getting rebranded. Rocket Raccoon's getting one.
That Gamora book was in development for a bit. I remember you and I talking about that Gamora book a long time ago.
Yeah, so I guess they kind of bringing it out now. They finally are in a position, I guess, because like new movies coming out and everything.
We actually got some concept art for Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Looks pretty cool.
Looks really cool. Flying raccoons.
Who doesn't love that? Yeah, that is funny. That's like, and yet again, everyone on the Guardians gets a book because why not? Because they're probably. Did you ever think we'd live in a day and age where there'd be like, yeah, you know, these Guardians characters are so cool, they all need solo series?
Yeah, it's so weird. Like when you think back to like when like Dan Abnett and everything were writing them, that was like the only book you could read about Guardians of the Galaxy, and then for a long time after that, it was so hard to like get a book that actually had them in it for more than like a panel.
Yep.
Now they're in everything.
It's true. Now you could argue they're almost oversaturated at this point.
Yeah.
What's some other cool shit? Some things that like aren't new series, but like some new status quos for the universe. They make a solid point in these solicitations to say that Captain America Steve Rogers will eventually be outed for his Hydra sympathies.
Oh, okay. Even though it technically wasn't.
But they don't know that, though. The good guys don't know that.
That's true. That's true.
They don't know that his mind's been fucked with, and so that's why Sam Wilson, Captain America, is kicking off a new event called, or a new storyline. They're not events, but every title had like a little subtitle with it, and his subtitle was #TakeBackTheShield.
Oh, okay.
So he's going to be going up against his friend and mentor. Steve's book carried the subtitle Hail Hydra, and it was his eyes with like the Hydra symbol in it.
That's
And
cool.
that is kind of cool. This is having effects on Uncanny Avengers, too, because, of course, that's the Unity Squad that Steve leads. They kick him out, and Cable is now leading the team, and Janet takes Steve's place.
Huh.
Which I'm just like, really? Cable leading an Avengers team? Fuck, you might as well just call the book X-Force at this point. And there's enough X-Men on the goddamn team, you might as well just call it X-Force.
they're like half or over half X-Men.
Now they are. I love it's just like, Marvel is burying the X-Men. They hate the X-Men. They don't hate the popular X-Men. Look at Uncanny Avengers. Look, guys, it's all your favorites. Deadpool and Rogue and Quicksilver. And all these other ones. We don't hate them. They make us money. Actually, that's another thing you'll notice looking at these solicitations now that we're on the subject of X-Men. There's only one X book on that list, and it's Death of X. It's the flashback story that they've been talking about forever, where we'll finally see the death of old Cyclops and his war he waged on the Inhumans. But while that book goes on, every other X-Men book looks to be suspended, including the Wolverine books. Which, that's a ballsy move, isn't it?
And it's kind of sad as well, because I've been enjoying all new Wolverine.
Me too, and Old Man Logan has also been solid.
Yeah.
I would be sad to see those books go, even if just for a little bit. And I wonder, in the back of my mind, is this like, is this Marvel kind of playing a game where it's like, okay, look, if we got rid of the X-Men books, or if we trimmed it all back but just one, would people care? Is this them testing the waters to see if people would give a shit?
I guess it depends on like who's in that book as well.
That's true.
Just every character who's been Wolverine and all the Cyclopses and Magneto.
And all the Magnetos. I mean, to me it seems obvious. I mean, look, if that's how you want to go with it, then just have one book just called X-Men then, and have all of them.
Yeah.
And get like a really great writer to be like, look, you have the entire X-Men universe at your fingertips, do whatever you want. Mm-hmm. Bring back Chris Claremont and be like, hey, Chris, here you go. Here's the X-Men again. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, bring back Chris Claremont and Joss Whedon.
Yeah, there you go. And knowing both those guys, they'd be like, okay, time to pick up and start writing like I never stopped.
Yeah. They'll probably just continue on like nothing ever happened.
People forget Chris Claremont had a Nightcrawler run for a little bit. Like, there was a short-lived Nightcrawler book, and it was Claremont literally writing that book like he never stopped. And being like, yep, and this is my X-Men universe, exactly how I left it. Nope, nothing happened in between here and now. It was all just me. Here's the X-Men playing baseball again. Ain't that fun? It is, Chris, it is. Sorry, I'm not used to getting up this early to doing the show. Was there any other titles? Because there were so many.
I know like some books are getting like renamed and renumbered. So like I think the Ultimates is becoming like Ultimate Squared or something.
Yeah, which fans of that book are just happy to see it hold in there a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Because it's such a weird cosmic book. Oh, friggin' Thanos is getting a book from Jeff Lemire.
Yeah, and I can't believe I forgot about this. I like the way he was describing it. He says he's going to make it like the new Darth Vader comic.
Yeah.
And I think that's absolutely perfect way to go with Thanos.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, too, this is going to be a Thanos post falling out of love with death, so we're going to see Thanos without his major motivator.
He's like all schlubby, like sleeping on the couch with like pizza boxes.
His fingers are crusted in Cheeto dust. He's wearing a dirty bathrobe. Why did she leave me? Thanos is so sad. and his like little henchmen are like, come on, Thanos, don't you want to destroy reality? No, not today. I'm not feeling it. Oh, come on, boss, you gotta do it. No, not today. I'll do it next week.
Maybe tomorrow.
Man, I love the idea of Schlubby Thanos. Schlubby Thanos just, like blasting My Chemical Romance. I'm so sad. Only they understand me. Black Parade. Man, emo Thanos is worse Thanos. Somewhere on Earth, the Avengers are like, man, I wish he would just go back to destroying the universe. This self-hating schlubby phase is awful. I feel bad for him now. Some books that we also look to kind of lost from this thing. There looks to be no more Astonishing Ant-Man, which that kind of worries me because I really liked that book.
Yeah, you've been singing its praises, and it sounded pretty cool.
We're losing that one, but we're getting the Wasp. We're getting Nadia Pym in like a brand new book.
Oh, so you think he'll be in that?
Maybe not. I don't think he will be, but I wouldn't be surprised if when Ant-Man 2 comes around, Ant-Man and Wasp, they won't relaunch the book as that.
Yeah. Hey, with that Ant-Man book, did Scott ever find out about like Cassie, how like she came back to life and whatnot? And...
Yeah, he did, more or less.
Yeah, was it kind of like anticlimactic and everything?
Well, because it's such a comedy book, they play it off as a joke, is the thing, where it's like, yeah, Doom brought her back to life, but, he forgot to give her back her powers when she came back to life.
Okay, because I remember that was kind of like a big thing.
It was a big sticking point, and they kind of draw that story out and didn't really tell it, but now because Scott is fighting the Power Broker, who's giving, upstart supervillains their abilities, Cassie decides to infiltrate his organization and ends up getting a new costume and new powers, and now she's Stinger.
Oh, okay.
But a question remains, will she keep those powers when everything is said and done?
Yeah.
Which would be hilarious, because it's like, okay, now we have the original Wasp, Janet, Nadia, the all-new Wasp, and, Casey Lang as Stinger, a character who might as well be another Wasp.
Well, like, they could play it the way, like, upon getting these powers, her old powers reactivate.
Yeah.
And they sort of overlap onto those powers, so as well as getting new powers, she gets her old ones back.
Yeah, that'd be... I would not be surprised if they played it like that at the end. Talk about another Young Avengers people have more or less forgotten about stature. She even does that, too, where it's like, man, I'm only a 20-something and I'm already a retired superhero. This is bullshit. And, like, people at school make fun of her for being a former Young Avenger. It's like, kids can be cruel. They actually make fun of me for being a former Young Avenger. And when I beat them up, I'm the bad guy. School sucks. But yeah, so lots of interesting books from that Marvel Now thing. Obviously, I'm sure we'll be talking about this more. One problem I had, and I wonder if you felt the same way, Matt, with these leaks and everything. Excuse me. God damn it. With these leaks and everything, obviously these are all the books that are going to be coming up post-Civil War 2 and everything. Does it kind of bug you that now we basically know how Civil War 2 goes because we see who ends up where and on what team?
Yeah, kind of, and that's kind of the thing with, like, this guy spoiling everything, because it kind of takes away from that series.
Well, we say he spoils it, but the fact is this was going to be their centerpiece for San Diego Comic-Con, so they were going to spoil it themselves in just a couple weeks anyway.
Well, they might have actually, like, left some of the stuff out, maybe.
That's true.
Or, like, not reveal covers or something.
Maybe.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of like, well, I know who goes where now at the end of this story. I know there's going to be no Banner, no Iron Man. Some people are going to love Carol. Some people are going to hate Carol. Do I need to keep reading Civil War 2 now that I basically know how it all shakes out?
Yeah, that's true.
It's a little unfortunate, but you know what? From possible San Diego Comic-Con stuff to Star Wars Celebration stuff, and something that I'm sure Matt and I were both losing our collective minds about, is Star Wars Rebels Season 3. We got a trailer for that, and oh, what a trailer it was.
Oh my god, this season looks so good.
Oh yeah. Oh, frickin' yeah, man. I mean, first and foremost, we get to see Ezra. He's got a brand new haircut. He's got a brand new lightsaber and blaster.
Yeah, it looks really cool. The lightsaber as well looks like Luke's second lightsaber.
Yeah, I thought so too.
And which is really cool.
We've
And
jumped a considerable time in the future. Everyone looks much older now. Kanan's grown a gross hobo beard.
yeah, well, as I watched a live stream while this was on the panel, and Dave Filoni said that they're now closer to Rogue One,
Yeah, as they would
which
have
they
to be.
and so they're trying to ape that sort of style that Rogue One has in the animation.
That's a great idea.
And yeah, it's like that whole synergy sort of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. I hope they keep doing time jumps like this. I hope Rebels lasts a long time and they keep doing time jumps. It's funny, I think too at Star Wars Celebration, Filoni and them said, hey, you know, if we had gotten another season of Clone Wars, this is what we would have done with Ahsoka. And it's like, oh wow, you had plans to take it right up to Revenge of the Sith, didn't you?
That panel, like, oh, I'm so glad I watched that, because I almost didn't watch that. I almost went out. But I'm like, oh, I'll stay around. They might show some stuff, and holy crap, I'm so glad that they stayed around. And the cool thing is that Dave Filoni kind of said that those arcs are still technically canon.
In his mind, at least, for the big showdown Ahsoka had with Vader at the end of last season.
Yeah, and yeah, all this new stuff that they were going to do in like season 6 and 7 of the Clone Wars sounded really cool. Like Ahsoka inadvertently fighting Palpatine, and
Yeah.
all this really cool stuff.
I mean, I guess the biggest takeaway from Rebel Season 3 is, of course, the villain of the piece is going to be frickin' Grand Admiral freaking Thrawn.
Oh, I am so excited. I knew it was going to happen as well, which is actually really lucky, because I actually put out a sort of bio on Grand Admiral Thrawn, a video bio on him, probably about 30 minutes after the panel finished.
I mean,
I had it like waiting and everything, and yeah.
I mean, this is huge, gigantic, because for those of you who aren't really plugged into Star Wars, Grand Admiral Thrawn is from the Timothy Zahn book trilogy. The book trilogy that was rendered not canon when Disney did everything. So basically what we're seeing now is a beloved character, arguably one of the most beloved EU characters, who was not canon, being made canon again by Disney.
Yep, one of the best canon on EU characters ever as well.
This basically throws open the door to any previously considered non-canon character to be brought back and made canon again. Ain't that right, Matt?
Pretty much, yeah. As long as it doesn't, fuck around with what they've already done and what they're planning on doing, then yeah.
Like, hey, all you Dash Rendar fans, hey, Rebel Season 4, Dash Rendar.
It's funny you should say that, because Dave Filoni confirmed that there was a ship in the Season 3 trailer that is the same exact ship, the Outrider, that Dash Rendar... It's not his ship,
but
it's
the
the same
model.
model.
Type of ship. Ooh, that's cool. I mean, again, this is Disney now. This is the Mouse House. They like to make money, and if they think that, there's a lot of money to be made in bringing back Dash Rendar, or like, who's that prince dude from Shattered Empire, who was the villain in that?
In Shattered Empire?
Or not Shattered Empire, like the comic trilogy in between movies, the one they did. The Prince...
Shadows of the Empire?
Shadows of the Empire, thank you.
Prince Shizor?
Prince Shizor. Like, if they think there's a bunch of money in making Shizor canon, maybe they'll make Shizor canon too.
Well, they've already got set up. They've had Fourlines, which is his race in Clone Wars. They've had Black Sun in Clone Wars.
Have. Black Sun, which apparently just made it into the episode they made it into to become canon.
Yeah.
So yeah, don't be shocked if more of that shit happens. Some other cool shit here from the Rebel Season 3 thing. Wedge, we get to see freaking Wedge.
Yeah, and he's escaping from a Imperial fighter training facility.
Yeah, I love that Wedge is actually a defector. Was that a thing in his old canon, that he used to fly for the Empire before defecting?
I can't remember, but I remember there was this absolutely amazing comic series called Darklighter. It's about Biggs Darklighter basically doing what Wedge is doing in this series and escaping from the Imperials to go join up with the Rebels. And it's insanely cool, and I hope they do something similar to that with Wedge.
Yeah, I can only hope so. And that reclamation thing, all those ships they were after, that's Rogue Squadron, right? Once they get those ships, that'll eventually become the Rogue Squadron, won't it?
I don't know, because they were Y-Wing bombers, so maybe... I'm not too sure.
I was assuming that once they steal those ships, that will be the forerunner to the ships that will eventually one day blow up the Death Star.
Yeah, it's possible, yeah.
That's what I thought, at least. I know I'm not as knowledgeable about Star Wars as you are, Matta. What was some other cool shit from the trailer? Oh, Maul is still around and looks to be continuing to try and tempt Ezra to the dark side.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. We got Hondo back.
Yeah, Hondo and that other gross pig alien voiced by James Hong. So we've got all the smuggling crime lordy characters now.
Yeah, let's put more Mandalorians. Sabine gets a jetpack.
That's freaking cool. Also, we get to see Mandalorians working for the Empire. That's pretty great.
Yeah, the dark saber.
Yeah, okay, see, that's going to be a good arc because, as they mentioned before in Sabine's Focus episode, her mother was a member of Death Watch, so that's probably going to be her mother's Darksaber.
Yeah, I think her mother was... Back in Clone Wars, there was this woman, Mandalorian, who was like Pre Vizsla's second in command.
I remember that.
I can't remember her character. I think they're implying that Sabine is her mother. Sabine is her daughter, I mean.
Right. Yeah, I wouldn't be
think
surprised.
So.
That would be cool. That would be cool. We also get to see the Mandalorians are going to take a bigger part this episode. I think that guy she was talking to might have been her father, actually.
It's possible, yeah, because he was talking about like how Mandalorians are now working for the Empire.
Yeah, and being like, you did us proud, Sabine. You remember our ways and our traditions.
Yeah, we get more Rex fighting the 501st and battle droids.
That's pretty great. New droids, too, there. You got, like, those death bots.
Dark Troopers. They're actually old canon stuff. They're brought back into new canon.
That's amazing how they're treating, like, this new canon, like, the ultimate universe of Star Wars, where it's like, look, we'll bring in all the good shit.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to that. And just back on the Rex thing, it's going to be really interesting for him to fight the 501st since he led the 501st.
Yeah.
So it'll be... I don't know whether it'll still be like some of his squad mates in it because they'll be kind of old or anything, but it'll be kind of like fucked up if there are some of his squad mates in there and they know who he is and everything. And,
that'll be cool.
Yeah.
Man, to think Rex has had such an amazing arc from Clone Wars to now.
Yeah, and that's another thing about that Ahsoka panel. Apparently, like, the episodes there would actually, like, work out how, like, Rex and everything wasn't in episode 3 because he was given... Because Anakin gave Ahsoka command of Rex, and they went off to do their own thing while episode 3 happened.
Yeah, you can understand why in Filoni's mind that's still canon because Ahsoka and Rex are so close.
Yeah, exactly.
That's so freaking cool. There's a lot of cool shit going on in Rebels.
Just Dave Filoni, man.
Yeah, I mean, they're really doing something magical here. And even just the way that trailer was cut, it felt like a truly epic movie. And they're like, oh, no, we treat every season like an epic movie.
Oh, another thing, we get Tom Baker, one of the original Doctor Who's, voicing a character called the Bendu.
Oh, is that who? I thought that voice sounded familiar.
Yeah, they confirmed it on the live stream.
Now, we haven't seen the Bendu in anything else before. The Bendu is new.
Well, yeah, the Bendu is like... I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think like back when George Lucas was starting all this Jedi stuff, the Jedi were originally called the Jedi Bendu.
Oh.
So I think he's got to... It says in the trailer that he's the midpoint between the dark and the light side.
Right.
So he's like technically the balance in the middle.
He is the scale on which they go.
Yeah.
That's interesting because that's not the first time they've taken stuff too in Rebels that never actually made it in. Like what is it? The Lasat design is actually like a recycled design for Chewbacca.
Yep.
And like a bunch of signs and stuff they take from like deleted scenes.
Yeah.
That's pretty sweet. That's pretty sick. And that wasn't the only trailer we saw, too, because we also got an interesting kind of behind-the-scenes trailer for Rogue One.
Yeah, it was really cool.
It was interesting how they did that. It wasn't like a full trailer. It was like a behind-the-scenes trailer.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people getting mad about that. I'm like, you still got something, guys.
I would argue this is better, because you're actually taken inside the movie and see some cool clips from it at the same time.
And also, we got that, but we also got like a clip of Alan Tudyk's character, the droid, K2SO, and
I don't think I saw that one.
Him interacting with Jyn Erso and Diego Luna's character, Cassian.
No,
Looks really cool.
I must have missed that one. I'll have to go back to watch it. But yeah, some cool shit they're showing off there. I love the idea of stormtroopers and all this Imperial stuff on like a tropical planet on like the beach.
It looks really cool.
I got like a real like Beaches of Normandy vibe off it.
Yeah, it's like that HBO series, The Pacific.
Yeah. Just like that, but in space.
Yeah, oh, it's going to be so cool. And that panel as well. Well, there's a big spoiler in that panel. Fucking Ben Mendelsohn comes out as Director Krennic. That was amazing.
Should I know who that is?
That's the bad guy for Rogue One.
Oh shit! Okay.
He came out dressed in full Imperial garb with like Death Trooper escort and everything. And
oh, see, I gotta go back and watch that shit now. That sounds really cool.
Just don't watch the Q&A.
Oh, why does he say a thing he shouldn't have said?
One of the actors there, I feel really bad for him. The guy who plays Baze, he's the long-haired guy with the massive gun. He can't speak English properly.
Oh no.
Because English is his second language and everything, and he kind of says a spoiler, and like I already knew it was going to happen as well, and I think a lot of people did, but people who don't really know what the whole deal is with this movie is probably won't take kindly to it, and also you could go back and watch it just to watch Alan Tudyk's face.
Yeah, I bet it's pretty great. Is it Tudyk or Tudyk? I always called him Alan Tudyk.
I've heard it both ways.
Huh. Let's ask him. Let's tweet him right now. Hey, Alan, how do you pronounce your last name? You would know. That wasn't the only bit of Star Wars news either. On top of that, we got our young Han Solo cast now.
Yeah, this was the only panel I did not watch.
I didn't watch it either, but yeah, the dude who's going to be playing young Han Solo is the dude from that movie Hail Caesar, which I haven't seen, but now I feel I need to see it just so I can size up young Han Solo.
I think he's going to do a pretty good job. He did a really good job in that movie. His name's Alden Ehrenreich,
something like
Ehrenreich
that.
Or something. Yeah.
He definitely has a young Harrison Ford thing to him. I can see it in his face. He looks roguish. Well,
he must have impressed them because he auditioned on the set of the Millennium Falcon in costume.
Damn.
I would love a behind the scenes picture of that.
That's fucking ballsy. Being like, look, I'll put on the costume and I'll come on the Millennium Falcon and I'll show you.
Yeah, and the cool thing is, like, when they announced him, he came out with Chewbacca.
Oh, nice. Dude, was it Peter Mayhew or just a guy in a Chewbacca costume?
It might be the guy who plays him now in the movies.
Right.
Like, in the standing scenes and everything. He's some big, tall Swedish fella.
Of course. Man, see, that's what I want to know. You know, everyone's all excited for young Han Solo. I'm excited for young Chewie is what I want to see. What's young Chewie like? Was his hair shorter back then?
Well, he wouldn't be very young. He'd be like 300 then.
Yeah, that's the funny thing about Wookiees. They're much older than they appear. That's why Chewbacca didn't look all that different in Force Awakens.
Yeah, that I remember people were complaining about that. It's like, why doesn't Chewbacca look different?
Because Chewbacca rarely ever changes. That being said, how cute would it have been if he had like some Ra's al Ghul gray streaks in like his head hair?
I'd like him to have like a mustache, but it's like kind of like salt and peppered mustache.
That's good. I like that. See, I want young Chewbacca, like when he's 300 years old, he's going through a phase, so he's like shaved his hair into a mohawk.
He's got the fade along the sides.
He's got the fade going on. This was like, Chewbacca during his new space metal phase that he was going through. He's got like a bunch of, he's got like those spiky gauntlets going on and everything. He's wearing like, Hot Topic t-shirts.
Yeah, Mala and Lumpy don't understand me.
No, they don't. Fuck the society, man. Fuck the trees that we live in this Kashyyyk society. Chewbacca's favorite band is called Mad Claw. That's a reference. Some people will get that and some people won't.
It's called the Shadowlands.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that's where the gathering is. The gathering of the Wookiee Juggalos in the Shadowlands. Bring all your space Fagos.
Aw.
Oh, God, Space Fago. How horrible must that be? God damn it. So, yeah, lots of really awesome Star Wars stuff going on right now. Now is a great time to be a fan.
Yeah, that celebration was great. And it was great because they live streamed everything. which was fantastic. I think that's the first year they did it. I think for like last year they only live streamed certain things, but this time it was pretty much like everything that went on was live streamed except for like trailers and
Yeah,
stuff.
that's brilliant. That's freaking cool.
Yeah, San Diego Comic Con needs to do that.
They really do. Everyone else is doing it. Everyone else is eating your lunch, San Diego Comic Con. But San Diego Comic Con knows they don't have to do it.
I know. Well, at least like places like Marvel do their own sort of live streams, and you can like see like cast members and stuff like that. So that's really cool.
Yeah, I don't know if this statistic was true, but like I saw it come across my Twitter feed there. But something like during San Diego Comic Con, they take in something ridiculous like $8 million a day or something like that.
It would. Does that include like all the vendors and everything?
I don't know if it does or if it doesn't. I think that might have just been merch.
It makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't deny that at all. I would not be shocked if that was the case. And I'm sure
Yeah.
you could argue it's like, well, actually, if you count it this way, it's more. And I'm like, yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
Yeah, people have always asked me, it's like, oh, hey, Joel, do you want to go to San Diego Comic-Con? You're going to be there this year. I don't even know what I would do if I went there. Like, it's so huge now. It's just like a sea of people. And everyone I do know who is gone doesn't have nice things to say about it.
Yeah. Well, like I've heard like stuff like people say like, "Oh, it's crap. You never get to see what you want," and other people said it's fantastic, but you need to go see the full week or however long it's on.
Yeah.
And yeah, it varies, and I guess it's down to personal taste.
And plus, too, I think it's changed a lot in just, like, the last couple years as well.
Yeah, it would surprise me, especially with like all these comic book movies and everything. It's got more like movie centric and
It's
stuff like that.
They call it the San Diego Comic-Con, but they should really call it the San Diego Media Festival now, because it's about so much more than comics now. I mean, comics have become a footnote in the whole thing. Perhaps a better question is, I would love to go to San Diego Comic-Con if I had a time machine and I could travel to like 10 years ago and check it out then.
That'd be really weird.
Go to it like the year they announce Iron Man.
Oh wow, that would have been like 2005 or something.
Yeah, wouldn't that be a historic thing?
Yeah, and it'd be even fucked up as well because like as well as Iron Man, they announced like Hulk and Ant-Man or something.
Something like that, yeah, they announced a lot there.
Yeah.
What else would you do in 2005 if you had a time machine to go to 2005?
Go see Batman Begins again?
Yeah, go see Batman Begins in theaters. Yeah, that'd be fun. Go warn everyone about King Kong. You'll forget about this one in time. Shit. Go see Sin City and be like, man, I hope they never make a sequel to this one long after everyone stopped caring.
That's spoil Lost.
Yeah, spoil Lost for everyone. He just kind of lies down with the dog at the end, but it's really good up until that point.
Yeah, they're all in purgatory.
No, you know what you do in 2005? You go back and tell people about Lost. You're like, look, watch everything but the final episode, then just make up your own ending. You'll be a lot happier. Go see The Ring 2. On second thought, no, don't go see The Ring 2.
I'd stop Zack Snyder from making a Superman film.
How would you stop him? Just like kick him in the balls and be like, nope, nope.
I'd make him late for meetings or something.
Yo, you could enjoy all the great 2005 music like My Humps from the Black Eyed Peas off their #1 album, Monkey Business.
Oh, I could go see Revenge of the Sith in cinemas.
Oh, there you go. Yo, and then you could follow it up by listening to some Candy Shop from Fitty or Gold Digger by Kanye. Yeah, I guess that was the beginning of Kanye, wasn't it? That was like one of his first big hits.
Yeah.
Oh, Feel Good Inc. was also that year. Demon Days from the Gorillaz. That's actually good.
God damn. 2005 was a good year.
2005 was actually a good year. 2005, Foo Fighters came out with their album Best of You. I think that was the last CD I actually bought.
God damn, I haven't bought a CD in ages.
Yep, Best of You 2005 Foo Fighters was legitimately the last CD I totally bought.
Huh.
Man, there's so much. I'm actually looking at the Billboard charts for that year. It was all Black Eyed Peas. My Humps, Don't Funk With My Heart. Just a little bit from 50. Man, I'm so nostalgic for the year 2005 right now. Let's actually build a time machine. Yo, Beverly Hills from Weezer. That was also 2005.
Jesus.
What a good year, 2005. I wish I could go back to that time, to that time, to that time. Actually, no, it wasn't all good. Photograph from Nickelback was also a big hit that year.
Oh.
Look at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
Hey, just sing it in vowels.
Every day I owe you.
That was like one of the last funniest Family Guy jokes ever.
From Seth MacFarlane, yeah. Oh god, Axel F from Crazy Frog was also big in 2000.
Oh God, no, please.
Man, speaking of Family Guy, actually, hey, there's another thing I was doing in 2005, actually watching Family Guy.
That was when it was like, you could deal with it.
Yeah, when it was like at its zenith. It's so funny you should mention Family Guy too. I actually went back and watched like the first 2 episodes of Family Guy like last night just on a laugh because I had people over and they wanted to watch something and I'm just like, no, I don't watch Family Guy anymore. Like, okay, fine, we'll watch the first 2 episodes and I'll try and remind myself what I liked about this show. It's really hilarious. You go back and you watch it and it's really hard in 2016 not to see all the writing tricks that apparently we were all too blind to see before, where it's like, wow, the main plots are always paper thin so they can accommodate more cutaway gags.
Yep.
Also, the first season of Family Guy is only 7 episodes, and that was in 1999.
Mm-hmm.
Which it's like, man, Family Guy is way older than you think, too, because they were making jokes about, like, VHSs, and like, oh no, the cable's out, what do we do?
Yeah, it's a lot older than a lot of people think. Same with like The Simpsons. I don't think people nowadays who watch like newer viewers of The Simpsons realize that was a show that started in the 80s.
Yeah. Well, late 90s, like 89, I think was the first one.
Yeah.
Which, shit, 89, the year the first Batman came out, too.
Yeah.
Family Guy has such a weird history, too, because it ran from, like, 1999 to 2003 on and off. Then it was canceled, didn't come back till 2005.
Mm-hmm.
Then it got canceled again and didn't come back till much later, till, like, 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
Jeez, and it's still on now, even though some people, I'm sure, would argue maybe it should have stopped.
Yeah, like Gotham, we wonder who watches it.
This is fucking Gotham, man. I love that picture you showed me of Gotham where you're like, hey, Joel, hey, Joel, here's the mutant leader for Gotham, and I'm like, fuck off.
I remember someone on Facebook sent me that, and they're like, hey, guess who this is in Gotham? I'm like, Killer Croc. And they're like, no, that would actually make sense. This is the mutant leader from Dark Knight Returns. And I had the exact same reaction you had. Fuck off, it is.
Why the mutant leader? Why now? Why Gotham? What are you even doing anymore?
I guess, like, in this next season, Bruce is going to be an old man now, and he's going to be suiting up as Batman. Like, why don't they just do that already? Just time skip 10 years and just set up fucking Batman.
It's even dumber because, like, the mutant leader has a bunch of spikes growing out of him, implying that he's an actual mutant. The mutant gang weren't actual mutants.
No, they were just hillbillies.
Yeah, they were punk kids, which is hilarious because that's the mutant leader's line where it's like, no, we'll show them we're more than just punk kids. No, you actually are punk kids playing dress up is the thing.
Yeah, I also heard like another rumor that like one of the plots this season is like because what's his name, fucking Hugo Strange is in there. They're like making clones of Jerome and Bruce.
I'm sorry, the air just got sucked out of my lungs when you said that.
You're stroking out.
I'm sorry. I just it's like I'll never be cheerful again. So who is watching that show?
That's what I keep wondering. Like, how is this show on its third or fourth season?
It's
like, who is watching this?
Well, okay, I know one person, Caitlin, who helped guest while you were away there. She's big into cosplay, so I guess the costume community really likes that show because it's like a freaking drag show every week.
Yeah, I suppose like Mr. Freeze and who was that? Azrael, and
it's basically DIY costuming every week, where it's like I can make that too. I mean, that's not really a good thing when every costume is like, yeah, I can make that on my budget. That's probably not a good thing. And I mean, maybe people who love cringe but don't love comics as much, where they're like, look, we know this is bad, but we don't have like the good stuff to compare it to, so like we just enjoy it for the cringe factor.
Well, that's like, I don't, like, as I said before, I don't know why they're not going to do a time jump and skip into Batman, because, like, I imagine, like, those whole embargo things are off the table, because, like, Superman's going to be in Supergirl, so...
Yeah, maybe they'll retool it. Tell you what, if they retool the show and be like, look, next season Gotham actually has Batman in it, maybe I'll watch.
Yeah, that's it. Maybe I'll give it a go.
Or maybe they're trying to think, well, maybe we should wrap up Gotham and then do a sequel season that's like Batman of Gotham.
Well, like, I remember when this show first got announced, and we originally thought it was going to be based on Gotham Central.
Yeah, which is
like, that makes perfect sense for it to be based on that. But then they go off and do all this crazy shit with Laurie Petty as a Joker and all this random shit.
Which, man, that should tell you how much Gotham drops the ball. Laurie Petty is the goddamn Joker, and I don't want to watch it. That should be
yeah.
It should be the greatest thing ever. I should be chomping at the bit to see frickin' Livewire, frickin' Tank Girl dress up as the Joker, but I don't want to see it. Man, she was great in Orange is the New Black this season. I don't know if you've watched it.
I'm like 2 seasons behind on that show.
She's really good. She plays a crazy person, and she's really good.
Oh, really? She plays a crazy person?
I know, right? How out there. Who would have seen it coming, right? Even when she plays a sane person, she plays a crazy person. Man, I love Laurie Petty, but she might be way too intense for me. I've often said it before, but I always remember growing up and hearing her voice as Livewire. I'm like, oh, I have such a crush on this woman, until I got older and really got to see her. And I'm like, oh, you aren't interested in men, like, at all, are you, Laurie Petty? It's like if you look up the word lesbian in a dictionary, like, you know, like Out and Proud, you would probably see a picture of her and be like, yep, that's cool, right on. Well, we can be friends, though. we can hang out and you can tell me about all your adventures. But yeah, that's were we even talking about? How did we even get on here? I think young Han Solo was how we got on here.
The tangents.
The freaking tangents, man. Oh god, it's one of those episodes. So DC, because we already talked about all the Marvel links and everything, DC actually has some new miniseries that they're coming out with.
Interesting miniseries.
Some very interesting ones. They seem to be going for cult appeal here. The first one is called Hawkman and Adam Strange Out of Time. It's going to, no surprise, star Hawkman and Adam Strange.
Well, I'd be surprised if it didn't star them.
Hawkman and Adam Strange Out of Time actually stars Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I'm going to read this mainly because it says Out of Time, which means it's probably going to be a multiverse sort of travel experience.
You think so? That would be interesting. I know the synopsis that they gave, it basically says, you know, Adam Strange and Hawkman must come together to stop a war between Thanagar and Rand, because apparently that's the only story you can tell with these two characters.
Oh, so we're doing the Rand-Thanagarian War again.
Again, for like the 4th time now.
Are we building up to, what is it, Identity Crisis again? Final Crisis?
Final Crisis. Identity Crisis. But yeah, so they're getting together to do this, which is funny because if you read Jeff Lemire's Justice League of America book, which featured Adam Strange and Hawkman, it seemed like they were doing it there too, then they just kind of stopped.
Yeah, well, maybe this book might explain that. They got lost in time somewhere.
I suppose so. Or Hawkman, you know, just got lost wherever because no one gives a shit about Hawkman.
I was in the writer's limbo. Ooh.
Yeah, sorry, Hawkman. Sorry. He really was in the goddamn writer's limbo, Hawkman. They killed me like 3 times during Future's End, and then they killed me in my own book, but then I was still alive.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. He's important in Justice at the moment, so that's cool.
Guess, yeah. It's amazing. I know we rag on Hawkman a lot, but it is funny to think that no one cares about a character so much that they killed him multiple times in different books at the same time, and then brought him back.
Yeah.
It's cool to see a spacefaring book. We don't have a lot of spacefaring DC books at the moment.
No.
I would like to see them build up the cosmic side with this, and that looks to be what this is doing, like a straight-up DC cosmic book. That's not Green Lantern.
Yeah, it looks good.
It does look good. And from the cosmic side of things to the magical side of things, Deadman is getting a mini-series.
Yeah, and the book's, like, title sounds like a bad romance novel that, like, middle-aged mums read.
And that's kind of what they're going for. It's called Deadman Dark Mansion of Forbidden Love, and it's coming out in October in time for Halloween.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like Deadman as a character.
He's an interesting concept. I like what he's going on. Boston Brant. He's got a great detective name.
Yeah, so that's going to be pretty interesting, especially if it has to do with, like, obviously, like Dark Mansion, maybe like a haunted mansion or something.
Mm-hmm. They seem to be billing it as like you said, like a romance novel is what is. Yeah, it's a dark gothic romance novel starring Deadman.
Yeah, it'd be cool if this was the mansion, like, because we see it on the front cover. If it was the mansion from Justice League Dark,
that would be cool. Was that the House of Secrets?
Yes.
Okay, that's awesome, because the House of Secrets was also where the Secret Six hung out for a bit.
Mm-hmm.
That was their base of operations. The House of Secrets, too, is also a reference to an old horror anthology that DC used to put out. It was like their Tales from the Crypt.
Yep.
So, yeah, if it's the House of Secrets and if it's Deadman, I think that would be a really interesting book, actually.
Yeah.
Especially because, like we said, there is really no horror side of the DC universe at the moment.
No, there isn't.
Except for maybe Constantine, but I mean, that has to hold up everything.
Yeah, well, there will be a horror thing. Like, when does Red Hood and the Outlaws come out?
That's pretty horrifying, isn't it? I know I'm scared even just passing it. I'm like, ooh, too spooky for me. Can't read that one, too spooky. I'm gonna have to do like one of those face cam reaction things that people do for like Five Nights at Freddy's, but instead of instead of doing it for video games, I'll need to do it for comics. I'll need to just be reading it and then be like, ooh, so scary.
Yeah, ooh, it's kind of scary. The shit writing. Ooh.
Ooh, jump. Ooh, Scott Lobdell being horrible. I nearly jumped out of my skin on that one. Hey, Halloween's coming up. Maybe I should do it. The last miniseries they announced, their Vigilante is going to be getting a brand new miniseries. Now, Matt, tell me what you know about Vigilante.
Vigilante is a hero. That's it.
He sure is. He's actually several heroes. He's one of the strangest legacy heroes in DC history. I'm sure the Vigilante most people remember is the cowboy from Justice League United, or Justice League Unlimited, I should say, from the cartoon. That was Greg Sanders. He was the first Vigilante. There have been several more, much less interesting Vigilantes since then.
Yeah, they've always tried to make it a little bit edgy.
Yeah, they've always kind of been like, ooh, what if DC had a Punisher type thing, and that never works out whenever they try.
Yeah, well, the thing is, they've never gone that far, though. They've never gone, like, full Punisher, which is, I think, held back the character a little bit.
A little bit, definitely. I mean, also, the other Vigilantes, of which there's been several, their costumes look really bad. They're like, you know, these weird wetsuit singlet things that I'm sure looked really high-tech and cool when the character was first thought of, but it's not anymore.
Mm-hmm.
This new Vigilante miniseries is going to be like Vigilante Southland Justice, and it's going to deal with like a kid in California. You know, he's a young African-American living in a bad neighborhood. He's a former basketball player, which made me laugh because I'm like, wait, isn't that exactly what Marvel is doing with Mosaic right now? Isn't he also a retired basketball player? Seriously, are you two looking at each other's tests again? Because it looks like you basically more or less came up with the same character. Now, there's a battle you and me, Matt, are going to have to do. We might have to resurrect our old Versus series there, and we might have to have this new Vigilante versus Mosaic. Who wins?
No one wins that battle.
What would we call that? Similar Hero Showdown or something like that? Super Showdown or something like that. I don't know. It'll be our own answer to Death Battle. Super Duper Showdown of the similar characters. But yeah, so that'll just about do it for the news. Lots of stuff to be happy about. Lots of stuff to be positive about, I must say.
Yeah, and I'm sure next week as well going to be a lot busier as well because San Diego Comic-Con.
Yeah, holy shit. We keep putting off doing our first commentary. I'm like, look, Matt, I promise, first week there's no news going on. We'll give the people a commentary instead of like a half-assed show. And yet news just keeps on happening.
Yeah, stop announcing stuff, people.
Yeah, I know. Never have I actively wished for there to not be news so we could do something else. No, that's a bad news. Stop it. Stop it. Stop happening. So I guess from there we can hop into what we read this week. What did you have going on, Matt? It was a fairly decent week.
Let me bring up my list. I had some really cool comics. I read everything from DC, so I, of course, had Action Comics 959.
Yep, I read that too. I read most things this week, but I kind of dragged ass near the end there because obviously birthday stuff and everything. But yeah, Action Comics was cool.
It was, and the thing I really liked about it is while this Doomsday fight was happening, it was pretty much mirroring the original fight.
It sure was.
Because a gas main explodes this issue, and in the original Death of Superman story, pretty much the same thing happens.
Yeah, it really does.
And I thought that was cool. Maybe this is like a sign about what's happening. Maybe history repeating itself a little bit.
I really respected the story because I like Lois watching it on TV, and she gets the bulk of the internal monologue this issue, and she's pretty much saying, do I tell Jonathan, do I tell my son the truth, or, do I lie to him and say, no, Daddy's going to be fine, that giant doomsday monster's not going to kill him again.
Yeah, like last time.
Yeah, like last time. What do you mean last time? Oh, nothing.
Yeah, nothing. Also, the art callbacks to Death of Superman have been on point.
So many.
Panels recreated by the current artist. I can't remember his name. But yeah, completely on point with all the artist callbacks and everything, which is really cool.
Just the art in general. This was like an eye-meltingly beautiful issue.
Yeah, lots of cool panels and splash pages and everything.
Every splash page was like, like poster quality.
Yeah. Also, did you notice like with this Clark Kent that's been wandering around, he was talking about how Superman said for him to go and hide for a couple of weeks or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of weird.
What are we thinking for this Clark Kent? Are we thinking he's whatever is left over from the imposter Superman from Super League, or are we thinking that this is like some clone or something made by Mr. Oz?
I don't know. It could be a clone. Like I originally speculated because of what we saw with the Eradicator's birth. Maybe it was the Eradicator.
Yeah, but now we got the Eradicator in another book, so that ain't it.
No, well, I think it still might be that Eradicator, because that Eradicator, to take on a full form, he actually, disintegrated Clark's glasses.
Right.
So, maybe that might be, a hint or something. Another thing is it might be the New 52 Superman, who's been reborn, but as a human, as Clark Kent, and he only has his Clark Kent memories.
Interesting. That would be really interesting. I'd like to see that played out.
Yeah.
I guess from Action Comics we can go to Detective Comics. That was another really stellar issue this week. I dare say as it stands right now, there's a part of me that might actually like what Detective is doing now more than what main Batman is doing.
It was a pretty cool issue. The only thing I had wrong with it is that this felt like this big reveal that happens in this issue should have been maybe in a couple more issues until we find out a little bit more about the colony.
I think there's got to be more to the twist than what we saw.
Yeah, I think so as well. But yeah, I still would have liked a little bit more knowledge about the colony instead of Kane's sort of, we're going to build a wall of Batman around America.
Yeah, really, and keep them all out. Well, here's the thing. How familiar were you with Batwoman and her dad before?
Not really.
Okay, see, I went back and I reread Elegy and I read a bunch of other stuff. Honestly, this twist and his Breaking Bad turn is something they've kind of had in the background and have been foreshadowing for a long time. Their relationship has always kind of been like a dark mirror to the Alfred-Bruce relationship, where it's like, look, honey, I love you. I'll help you with your war on crime, but I don't like the way you do it. And if I could do it my way, I would do it totally different. And it was always talk before, but now he's actually doing it.
Yeah, he's bringing his game.
Yeah, he's actually bringing his A game, and it's like you almost can't be mad at him because it's like he's been honest with you this whole time, and he even gave you and the sidekicks a way out.
Yeah.
He's like, look, come and lead me, or come and lead this group as I always intended for you. Bring the kids with you, and we'll just do it that way. And she's obviously like, no, get bent, motherfucker.
Also, it sort of begs the question, like, what's going to happen with Batman now? Because he, by all intents and purposes, has been kidnapped by these colony people.
Yeah.
So, like, are they going to reveal his identity? Are they going to kill him? Or
Are they going to cornhole him repeatedly? Because that's how they roll. It's like, really, this was all part of your master plan. Step 1, kidnapping. Step 2, cornholing. Step 3, profit. I don't see how you profit off this. I'm just really happy it wasn't the Arkham Knight, because I know everyone kept saying that, like, ooh, are they bringing the Arkham Knight into the comics? And I'm like, I hope not.
And so, you know, if they actually did that, Jeff Johns might actually, like, that thing he said about it being an original character might come true, and he's be like, haha, see, I told you.
Yeah, really, I was right. It was a long game. Aren't I great? Actually, here's another funny thing about Detective Comics. James Tynion, the writer, was doing like a Twitter AMA as he was waiting for a plane, and a bunch of people were asking him stuff, and I actually managed to get on in there and ask him something too. And I said, you know, why Clayface was the one that you picked for the team? Did it ever cross your mind to use Mr. Freeze? And he basically confirmed what I had been saying forever. And he's like, yeah, I thought about it, but Scott has Mr. Freeze for All-Star Batman. So I think that basically confirms that Mr. Freeze will be made an actual hardcore villain again.
Yeah, that might be interesting. I hope that they make him a bit more sympathetic as well. I like the sympathetic Freeze.
Me too. And like, it's funny because Tynion wrote the story that more or less robbed him of his sympathy.
Yeah, it's kind of ironic.
Yeah, for him to be like, yeah, there never was a Nora never existed. This new 52 version of Freeze is just a crazy Peckerwood who is obsessed with a woman he never actually met. Although, that being said, now that we know this is the same universe, just with 10 years stolen by the Watchmen, maybe this is where Snyder will work his magic and be like, did we say that he never knew Nora? Because what we actually meant was, yes, he did. Batman was wrong. Batman was fucking with him.
Batman was trolling him.
Yeah, it was all part of like some special Arkham therapy troll to make him think that Nora didn't exist when she actually did. Which when Freeze finds that out, that would make him even more angry, wouldn't it? And make him want to kill Batman that much harder.
It would. It would make him really, really angry.
Shit, that's not a bad twist, actually, and have Mr. Freeze been like, you know what, I've been sitting on my hands doing nothing for the last couple years, but I'm ready to finally go back and be the villain I was always meant to be.
You know, that could be like a new, what was that story? Was it Identity Crisis, where they erased Dr. Light's mind?
That was the one, yeah, to make him less threatening.
Yeah, and they could do something similar to that, like a new version of that, but with Mr. Freeze, and Mr. Freeze is out for blood because Batman kind of fucked him over with Nora and everything.
Which is funny, because in Identity Crisis, Batman was the one who was disgusted at the idea of them wiping people's minds.
Exactly, to be like kind of a twist on the old storyline and everything.
Yeah, to be like, ooh, so it's fine when you do it, Batman, but when we do it, we're somehow horrible. I really did think that Identity Crisis thing, I found that to be, like, when you think of it ethically, really horrifying.
It is really horrifying.
Yeah, us heroes reaching into your mind and changing you. And they're like, yeah, but it's Dr. Light, though, and, you know, he raped a woman, so what were we going to do? Where it's like, I mean, yeah, he was a monster, but you've taken away a piece of his monstrous humanity.
Yeah, and like, in wiping his mind, you have also become a monster.
Yeah, I mean, you reached into his mind and mind raped him, more or less.
Yeah.
You are literally eye for an eyeing it now. And it's hilarious, too, because it's like, you know, thinking of it, like, throughout the history of comics, where it's like, sometimes, you know, villains are kind of wacky and non-threatening, and sometimes they're more threatening, where it's like, oh, is that what happens when a villain goes from threatening to non-threatening? The heroes just fucked with their minds to make them less threatening. But yeah, I mean, now not to dwell on Identity Crisis, a story from a long time ago. What else did you have, Matt?
I had New Superman issue 1.
Oh, yes, I read that too. This was an interesting book. I was not expecting what this book was throwing down.
It's a really cool twist on the Superman mythos.
Yeah. Instead of being like, you know, a flag-waving, all-American apple pie-eating good guy, Keenan Kong, the hero we follow here, he is a dickbag.
Yeah, he's a big dickbag.
He's a bully. He's bullying a kid when we see him.
But also, I like the reasoning for why he's bullying that kid as well.
It's a very clever reason.
It is, and yeah, I had conversations with people who were like screaming like, "Oh, this book isn't like Superman," and I'm like, this book isn't like Superman because it's not Superman.
It's
It's
new.
someone else.
It's new super
It's in
hyphen
the
man.
title. It's in the title.
It's right there. It's cool too. I like from like a theming and symbology standpoint how they make planes a big factor in this story.
Yeah, and yeah, planes obviously, yeah, a big thing of Superman mythology because you know there's that classic image of him saving a plane,
He
and
does it in
it's been
just about everything. All the
and
movies, all
everything.
the
Yeah,
cartoons. He always does something with planes, and to make planes a big, factor in this Keenan kid's life, I thought was actually really smart.
yeah, it's really great. And this is written by the guy who actually wrote Superman and Action Comics for a while.
Oh yeah.
Just Superman for a while. He wrote the that storyline with Ulysses.
Oh, nice, nice.
Oh, not Ulysses. The one after that. The one where he wore the T-shirt and everything.
Oh yeah, when he was powerless.
Yeah, and
That's funny.
yeah.
You confused me for a bit because you said Ulysses. I'm like, wait, the Inhuman who can see the future. I'm like, no, wait, they were both called Ulysses. The fuckers are the odds of that? Are there not enough great Greek names? You couldn't call him Homer?
But yeah, it was a pretty cool series. And we got the Chinese ripoff of Batman and Wonder Woman.
Man, in China, there's counterfeits of everything,
Yeah,
even superheroes.
that was great. I wonder how Batman would feel that someone else is running around dressed like him.
I think Well, I was gonna say Batman Inc. There's guys running around as Batman all over the place, but I doubt the Chinese Bat-Man is a member of Batman Inc.
Is Batman Inc. even still a thing?
It should be. They just haven't mentioned it in forever.
They're like, oh yeah, I fund this Bat group from around the world. I forgot about that.
Actually, that's a good question. I think someone asked me that in the comment section. Where it's like, was there a Chinese member of Batman Inc.? And I'm like, there was a Japanese member of Batman Inc. I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's funny too. In this book, they make a big issue of saying, he's the first American-styled superhero, American-style supervillain, implying that there have been Chinese heroes and villains before, but they haven't been America-style.
Well, yeah, we got the who was it? The Great Ten.
Yeah.
And they weren't very Americanized. They were really in that Japanese mythos.
Chinese.
We had Chinese mythos.
Shanghai.
We had like a guy who was like a tiger and like all the stuff to do like magic and everything.
I really loved the design of the Great Ten. I was actually kind of upset that when they brought the Great Ten back, they didn't bring them in this issue.
Oh, I imagine they'll come back. You got to ease things into this.
I guess so, yeah. I mean, maybe that'll be the whole divide they're doing there. Like, maybe the traditional Chinese heroes don't like these new American-style heroes.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll, go to war or something over it.
Yeah, that'll be pretty cool.
It's fun, too, that they have a whole book set in China and they never say the word communism once.
It's coming.
It's coming. Well, his dad is a weird conspiracy junkie. He's like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to uncover corruption within the government. And I'm like, a communistic government, that's all about, keeping people out and everything and mistreating its people. Really, they're corrupt. I could have told you that.
I saw a someone suggest that maybe his father was Blue Condor.
Yeah, someone suggested that to me, too. Interesting theory.
Yeah, it's possible.
Wouldn't that be
That would be a way to fuck over the government. He's a villain who's messing around with like people and blowing up buildings and everything,
And wouldn't that be some shit too if you're trying to put some twists on the Superman mythos there to be like, yeah, Superman's dad is a villain.
Yeah, Superman's Lex Luthor is a villain.
Is
his father.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
that be some shit?
Yeah.
There's a lot of cool directions this book can go.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it.
A lot of cool places that one could go. And, well, I guess because I mentioned Ulysses there before, I guess we'll talk about it. Civil War II #3 came out this week.
Yeah, it was a courtroom drama.
It was a courtroom drama. That's the thing. It's really easy to shit on this book for all the things it does wrong, but I will give it an endless amount of credit for always surprising me, and whenever I think it's going to go right, it ends up going left.
Yeah, it was really cool. I really like how they framed this book as like Matt Murdock grilling Tony Stark and Carol Danvers and all these and Clint Barton and everything.
Mm-hmm. Apparently, he's going to be getting another tie-in. Apparently, they're still coming out with Civil War II tie-ins, and there's going to be one called The Accused, and it's going to focus on Matt Murdock.
Cool. I'm gonna read that one.
Yeah, which is interesting because Matt Murdock usually doesn't get event tie-ins. Usually he stays as far away from events as he can.
Well, he's got a series, so
I guess so. It doesn't affect the main series. It's an outside one.
Oh no, I mean like he's got a TV series, so he's popular.
Yeah. So he's got to show up to more of the events that he never did. I will say this though: were you reading Totally Awesome Hulk?
I was not, no.
Well, here's the thing. I read the last couple issues because they were banner-centric stories. This is another classic case of Honey Bendis don't give a fuck, because he completely disregarded everything Pack was writing about Banner. And it's even more egregious and even more in your face because the actual quote-unquote tie-in issues to Civil War II, which aren't really tie-in issues, they were just issues they were going to tell anyway that they slapped it onto, those are all Banner-centric stories. And Bendis didn't give a shit when he wrote this, because when Carol and Tony find Banner, he's in a completely different place, doing completely different things than he is in the Totally Awesome Hulk book.
So what was he doing in the book?
Obviously in Civil War II, you find out he was in a secret lab. He was experimenting with gamma cells and everything. In the Totally Awesome Hulk book, he made peace with not being the Hulk anymore, and he was trying to help out Amadeus Cho, and he was hanging out with him in his base.
Oh yeah, well, Honey Bendis don't give a fuck.
Honey Bendis does not give a fuck. Now look, as I said elsewhere, and I'll say again, Bendis writes his books incredibly far in advance, so I would not be shocked at all if he had written this a long time ago, and this was supposed to be the twist before Totally Awesome Hulk and everything really got rolling and started moving in that direction. Maybe he didn't do it maliciously, but here's the thing: if that's the case, if you're an editor, it's your job to fix that shit.
Yeah. Now, there isn't a chance that, like, the Totally Awesome Hulk, the stuff with Banner and everything, could be, like, before everything in Civil War 3 happens? Like, a couple of months before he starts testing on himself or something?
I mean, it's possible, but it doesn't quite seem to line up yet, at least. Unless in the next issue of Totally Awesome Hulk, they say, oh, and this happened then.
Oh, the next issue will be like that. Oops, we fucked up. Here's what really happened.
Yeah, that's the thing, too. You know, it wouldn't be Bendis who would have to go back and rewrite it because it's Bendis. They would put all that workload on Greg Pak to be like, okay, no, you make it make sense now, Greg Pak. Because Bendis is Golden Boy. Yeah, I mean, the whole big thing here is we actually see the death of a major character. We see the death of Bruce Banner Hulk, which makes sense why he's in none of those Marvel leaks.
Yep. Gets killed by Hawkeye, who was told to kill him by Bruce Banner.
Upon his request.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the trial is basically like, you know, did Hawkeye do the right thing? Who is culpable in this situation? Was it Carol's fault for basically bringing an entire armada of superheroes up to his door and forcing the situation? Honestly, I think yes, it was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it was really cool, like, how Hawkeye was saying, like, you guys didn't see it. My eyes are better than everyone else. I saw a flicker of green in his eyes.
Of course,
so I took the shot.
Of course, then when they show us the panel, you don't actually see a flicker of green in his eyes, which makes you, as the reader, question, wait, did he really see that, or did the artist just fuck up?
Well, like, that's the funny thing. Like, before that, when it happened, before that flashback, you actually do see it, but in the flashback, you don't.
Yeah,
it makes you like, what's going on here?
It's did it happen or didn't it happen? Tony has a great line too, because he's just like, he's so done, he's so defeated, and he's like, Carol, I hate what we've become here. We're not avenging, we're not protecting or defending anymore. Yeah. What are we doing?
Yeah. I seriously think that, like, obviously we're gonna see him step down as Iron Man. I think he's gonna, like, go back on the booze, maybe.
Ooh, wouldn't that be some shit?
Like the ending of this book, like, before Friday worked out how Ulysses' brain works and everything, it looked like he's like, I'm so done with it, where's my Jack Daniels bottle?
Yeah, really. And then he'll spin off into a brand new series called The Alcoholic Iron Man. Man, imagine how that series would go, The Alcoholic Iron Man. It's just Tony shitting his pants and showing up late for everything.
You just call it, like, the boozed up billionaire.
No, he's not the Iron Avenger anymore. He's the Boozy Billionaire. Every issue is just him finding a new bar, and then for 22 pages, he just sits there. I miss Rhodey. Drink.
I was Iron Man, god damn it.
And then, you know, for the special issues, it's him drunk dialing Pepper. And Pepper like, Tony, don't call me when you're drunk, please. I go fight. Yeah, I know. Fine, I'll drunk dial MJ now. She works for me. I can. He just starts drunk dialing everybody on like the all different Avengers team. Sam Wilson's like, look, Tony, I love you, but I'm dealing with my own shit right now. You can't keep calling. Calls Miss Marvel there. It's like, dude, I can't. I'm not even old enough to drink yet. What are you doing? Look, you're gonna have to learn how to deal with drunk Tony at some point. All Avengers have to do, and it's the rite of passage. No, come pick me up. I'm too drunk to drive. Really? This is your thing now? You're calling teenagers to come and pick you up because you're too drunk to drive, Tony? I'm the alcoholic Iron Man. Oh, geez. That's a pitch. Get someone on that. Get Duggan on that. He'll write the shit out of that. But yes, back on Civil War 2, Banner is dead, and that's bad for everybody.
Yep.
I like to, again, I mentioned the Young Avengers a second ago. I like how the Young Avengers are fed up with this shit too, and they're fed up with the idea of heroes fighting other heroes, which I'm like, man, isn't that a bit of meta commentary?
Yeah, and I like that. There's like panels there with Miles Morales and Sam Alexander. They're like, man, this is heavy. I choose Iron Man, and they're like, yeah, me too. He seems right.
It's funny, maybe I'm reading all the wrong books, but literally every time I've been reading so far, everybody disagrees with Miss Marvel, or everyone disagrees with Captain Marvel. Am I reading the wrong books?
I've seen that as well. Like, they completely disagree with her. Like, they're making her out to be the bad guy.
They really are, which is funny because they were making Tony out to be the bad guy in Civil War or original. But that seemed to be like they were doing that unintentionally. Like, it's just as that series went on, he became more and more of a bad guy. I haven't read one where anyone agrees with her. Now, I imagine the Captain Marvel book agrees with her. And I imagine...
You'd be surprised.
Freaking Black Panther and Miss America's like, nah, this is bullshit, you're profiling. I mean, yeah, I'm sure that book, like Ultimates and Captain Marvel, I'm sure they agree. Maybe A-Force, because she's on that team, too. Do the Inhumans agree with her? Because, I mean, Ulysses isn't Inhuman, but then they also seek to state that Ulysses isn't exactly in love with this arrangement either.
Well, like in the recent Inhuman books, they went all out on Tony Stark and fucked him over quite badly. And
But was that like, because they agreed with Carol, or was that just because they were angry at Tony?
That's what it's like, a bit of both. It was mainly more because they were angry at Tony for kidnapping Ulysses and scanning his brain and everything, so they fucked his life up. But they sort of disagree with Miss Captain Marvel, but they sort of understand where she's coming from as well.
Hell, you mentioned Miss Marvel. Even Kamala Khan, who worships Carol Danvers and looks up to her as a mentor and everything, even she doesn't agree with her.
Yeah.
Which is friggin' amazing. I'm like, wow, even if your little mentee doesn't agree with you anymore, that's some shit. And Carol, even in that book, puts way too much pressure on Kamala, being like, look, I don't really know how the legal ramifications of this work, so here's a legal team. Go to the street, fight street crime, and see if you can't make this law stick. This whole future crime thing. It's like, Carol, it seems like you're putting a lot on this teenage girl. It's like, just do it. And it's not even like an original Civil War where it's like, man, Tony is such a villain by the end of this. He's so evil and he doesn't even know it. Carol, it's almost something completely different where it's like, you keep doing the same thing over and over again, Carol, and you're shocked when it keeps having disastrous results.
Yeah.
Maybe the problem is we're not seeing all the times the future crime thing works. Like, she talks about, it's like, oh, well, we stopped MODOK, and we stopped the Celestials, and we stopped all this other stuff. It's like, yeah, but we didn't see those adventures, though.
Yeah, we don't know what exactly happened.
I think someone described, I forget who it was, but they basically said, you know, the whole thrust of the whole ethical and moral quandary of Civil War II basically seems to break down to, you know, would you fire that nuke to stop nuclear war? Well, would you? And I'm like, I don't know, it seems pretty bad regardless what I do. Would you fire the nuke to stop nuclear war, though? I don't know, exactly. I know nuclear war is bad. That's a thing. But yeah, That's Civil War 2, number 3. I still don't know what to make of this book, because it seems like it changes every issue just when I think I'm ready to nail it down.
Yeah, there's, what, 6 issues of this series?
Something like that. Which technically more if you count the free comic book day and the 0 issue and all the other stuff.
That's true. Yeah.
It's more like 5 issues in now.
Yeah.
So what else did you have happening, Matt?
Back to DC, I had Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps Rebirth.
Yes. I also read this just for the hell of it because I had been out of Green Lantern for so long, so I wanted to try and get back in for a second.
Good jumping on point.
Sinestro's old as shit.
Yeah, that really surprised me when I saw that some old decrepit Sinestro, and I guess it sort of has to happen with like what happened in his book, where he sort of gave up power to his daughter and everything, and sort of used his power to help Earth and everything, and he doesn't have Parallax in him anymore, so
but he's
I guess
keeping
that's
him
another
in a
thing.
jar in the basement.
Yeah, and I guess that's like another thing that was sort of keeping him alive with all that power. When it's gone, it sort of ate away at his body or something.
I mean, they're seeking to imply that like Parallax is powering the War World, and War World is now the center of the universe. Yeah.
Warworld actually takes over Oa's position.
Yeah.
In the center of the universe. They go in there and they like blast open all like the debris of Oa. And it was pretty. And then we got like obviously the backstory of Hal Jordan again, and up to like the DCU stuff where you got Corona's Gauntlet and
a trench coat.
We understood all that, and then he forges his own ring.
A brand new ring made of pure will, made of my own will.
Yeah. He had too much will that he was becoming will.
I was so willful, I was so OP, I had to nerf myself in the update.
Yeah, I had to patch myself.
Hal Jordan was such a broken character class, I had to nerf myself. I was too OP, I had too many skills, the game wasn't even fun anymore.
And what I found really interesting about this comic, we actually got to see Kyle Rayner.
Yeah.
A character we haven't seen in
forever, from what I understand.
Yeah, like ages. Like whenever New Guardians finished, whenever that was, and that's gone back a while.
It's been a while now. He's still being the White Lantern. He's still out there doing white stuff.
Yeah, and they seek to imply that he's really important.
Yeah, for real.
He's something to do with the galaxy or the universe or something. So yeah,
more power to him.
Yeah, that's going to be a real cool book.
Well, it's called Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps, so I can only assume once the book gets rolling, it's probably going to be Hal Jordan traveling around getting the band back together.
Yeah, no, well, he'll probably become like the leader and I guess owner of the Green Lantern Corps.
Which wasn't he technically before? Like, wasn't he powering the Corps off his own energy or something like that previously?
I think so, but I think he's going to actually become... I don't think the Guardians are going to be as powerful as they were, and he's going to be like the big Guardian, sort of like the main Guardian, since like he forged his own ring, which is something only a Guardian should be able to do. And
right.
I like that dialogue. It's like only the Guardians could forge the ring, but like I showed them I can do it, and it's like, suck it, Guardian.
Yeah, basically, where it's like, fuck you, you little blue pieces of shit. Hey, in many Green Lantern stories, it basically broke down to, the Guardians might be more evil than anything else. The Guardians might be the biggest villains in the DC universe.
Yeah, well, like, stuff like Blackest Night has happened because of them.
The Anti-Monitor was created by Krona, so there you go.
Yeah.
The Guardians are basically the most evil characters in the DC universe. They're the worst villains. But yeah, that one was cool. Ooh, I read Nightwing Rebirth #1 this week, too.
I read that as well.
How sweet was Nightwing?
It's pretty cool. Midnighter was in it.
He was in it. It's another beautiful jumping on point, and it's also the proper ending for Grayson. Yeah,
it's cool. He was doing it was like his greatest hits, going out to all like the people who've been in his life and everything. You got Spiral. He goes and hangs out in an arcade with Damian.
Which is such a brilliant idea that this story is framed as Dick telling the story to Damian about everything he's been up to in the last little bit.
Yeah, so it makes it seem like the Grayson book was him recounting the story to Damian.
Yeah, and it's so great, too, because Tim Seeley, who, of course, launched Grayson but never got a chance to finish it, no doubt because he had to jump over and start writing Nightwing stories hilariously.
Yeah.
He gets to finish here, and there was a very much air of like, look, I don't care what you did in the annual, I don't care what you did in the last issue. Daddy's home, and he's gonna finish it right now, and he did.
And you know something I really liked about this book?
What?
They kept how Nightwing got his name.
Yes, I love that too. He made a solid point of being like, look, Kryptonian legend, Superman told me this story.
Yeah, it says suck it, Batman.
Yeah, suck it, Batman. I'm better than you. Well, actually, the first new arc is going to be called Better Than Batman, and this whole comic had very much an air of Better Than Batman. Like, look, I'm a better friend to everyone else in the superhero community. I'm a better father and mentor to Damian than you are, and I'm going to be a better hero than you are, because I'm going to go fight the Court of Owls all over the world, because you can't get out of Gotham.
Yeah, I help your son when he has bombs in his head.
Yeah, that was me. That was all me, Batman.
Yeah, what did you do, Batman, besides come in and ask what was going on?
I've two superpower people in the Gotham. I fought Grundy this week. Shut up, Dick. I try very hard. Look, I'm training Duke right now. Duke, which I love too. They're all walking over Wayne Manor. I'm like, hey, doesn't Duke live here now?
Yeah, like where's Duke in his bright yellow uniform?
Duke is trapped in the hedge maze outside. Hello?
Yeah, Batman's like, oh, hide on the hedge maze. Don't let anyone see you.
Alfred's like, damn it, we lost. Oh, Master Bruce, we lost another boy in the hedge maze. I'll throw the rope out and hope he finds it. Bruce is like, oh, we lose more Robins in that hedge maze every year. Somewhere Carrie Kelly is walking around in the hedge maze too. Hey, I'm out here too. I showed up during What the Fuck week, got lost in the hedge maze and haven't been back yet. Harper Rose out in the hedge maze too. Harper, we thought you went away to college. I did, but I woke up in this hedge maze. Will we ever get out of the hedge maze? Maybe. Maybe not. I don't know. I like to think, too, Wayne Manor is so big, Damian can live there and have adventures in his own book, and Duke can live there, too, and have adventures, and they never run into each other.
Yeah.
Batman's like, oh, that's a big house problem. Yep, you run into it in big houses. I didn't see Alfred for years one time.
He got lost.
That's how big the house is. Man, did you know we have a screening room downstairs? I didn't. Man, the friggin' Wayne Manor is like that one room from Harry Potter, the Room of Requirement, where it's like, yeah, whenever you need it, that's what the room becomes. Needed chamber pots one night, found a whole room full of chamber pots. It's crazy. But yeah, that Nightwing was really, really cool. I like what they do with the Court of Owls here, because for a second it looks like Lincoln March is going to be the villain again. I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sick of Lincoln March.
Yeah, that he dies.
Yeah. Tim Seeley's like, yeah, you know what? I'm sick of Lincoln March too. He was cool in his first story. He was cool in Eternal, but it's time for him to go away now, because it makes no sense for him to continually be affiliated with the Court of Owls anymore.
Yeah, he just got like shot in the eye by hooded gentlemen.
Actually, here's the thing. Did you notice Hooded Gentleman, his color scheme?
I did.
It was the same as Talon, Calvin Rose, from the Talon book. I wonder, because Tim Seeley was writing Talon before that book was done, wouldn't it be hilarious if Calvin Rose is like, you know, I tried fighting the Court of Owls. I tried being a member of Batman Inc. I decided I'm going to run the Court of Owls now, and I'm going to be a villain.
They're going to be pretty cool, and then, like, I as well give like Tim time to like write how he wanted that story to end in Talon.
For sure.
That'd be pretty cool.
Because I could have seen if that book had gone on, that would have been like a very Daredevil taking over the hand thing for like Calvin Rose taking over the Court of Owls and being like, look, they were evil without me, but now that I'm in control, I'm going to try and steer them in a good direction.
Yeah.
And maybe that's what Talon is trying to do with the Court of Owls, right? And it's like, look, Dick, you might think I'm a bad guy, but I'm actually trying to steer this crazy death cult into a good direction. That's why I got rid of crazy Peckerwoods like Lincoln March.
Yeah, that could be pretty cool.
That would be interesting. I'd read the shit out of that. I think regardless of where this book is going to go, it's going to be really interesting. Maybe they'll finally explain what the fuck is so important about the goddamn Nightwing and why the Court of Owls has this gigantic boner for Nightwing for some reason.
Maybe they're an offshoot of the Cult of Rao.
Oh shit, wouldn't that be nuts?
Because I mean, Nightwing and Flamebird were like deities on Krypton.
Yeah, wouldn't that be some fucking shit? Where it's like, yeah, our weird cult shit actually traces back to Krypton. Because they never went that far back in the Court of Owls and explained what their deal was.
Yeah.
And, like, before people say, like, oh no, Kyle Higgins wrote about it in his Night of the Owls tie-in. Not really. He wrote about how, like, Dick's granddad was, like, supposed to be a Talon, like the Grayson family was always part of the Court of Owls, but they never explained why Dick specifically was so important or why they had such a big boner for the Nightwing.
Yeah.
I like your Rao theory, though. That'd be pretty crazy, where it's like, yeah, we found these alien texts one time, and we built a whole cult around it.
Yeah, they talked about the Nightwing and the Flamebird.
Oh, shit, that would be a great option to bring, like, Flamebird back in this. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah, but you'd need to give him powers.
I think there was a Flamebird for a little bit in the actual Batwing book. I think she wandered off, that character. Maybe the Owls create a new version of Flamebird that's literally like a Talon with fire powers.
That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, this is our Flamebird we made, and we're trying to, like, complete some sort of weirdo prophecy.
Yeah, or like to combat Nightwing, they make the Flamebird to combat the Nightwing.
Okay, let's stick a pin in that, and don't be shocked if that happens. I mean, hell, we've been pretty good here on the comic multiverse for our theories. You had been predicting Eradicator, and it happened.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, I think we're batting pretty good. We're batting like 5 for 5 so far. That either happened or happened in one way or another. What else did you have happening, Matt?
I had Wonder Woman issue 2.
I also read this. This is the first part of the Wonder Woman Year 1 flashback set of stories.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's cool, and what I like about it is that, we've seen Wonder Woman's origin a lot over the last little bit, either be it in the digital series or be it in that Grant Morrison Year 1. This one does something really interesting by juxtaposing Wonder Woman Diana's origin on the island with what Steve Trevor was doing.
Yeah, Steve Trevor gets to appear in more than 2 panels.
Yeah, and he actually has some interesting stuff going on. They really make the argument that he and Wonder Woman are cut from the same cloth. Wonder Woman goes shooting arrows with her friends, Steve Trevor shooting guns with his friends. Wonder Woman goes to the beach, Steve Trevor goes to the beach.
Yeah, they're like kindred spirits.
Yeah, I really like that they do that, and that's what they really need to do, especially off the back of, like, oh, Wonder Woman was with Superman. Well, it's like, well, how the fuck do you go from Superman to Steve Trevor? Even though they're supposed to be together, how do you go from that? And yeah, that's how you do it. You show that they were always kindred spirits, that they were always kind of connected without really knowing they were connected.
Yeah, and I guess this also is going to feed into that whole story of Diana sort of finding out more about when she put the lasso on herself.
And
finding out more about, like, her origin isn't right. And this is the right telling of that origin.
Mm-hmm. Also, I like it took many years and one giant set of brass balls from Greg Rucka, but I'm glad they finally came out and said it. And they're like, yes, Wonder Woman had relationships with women growing up on the Themyscira. What did you think?
It was like one panel.
It was one panel where, like, people are saying, like, oh, is she with so-and-so? Oh, I thought she was with so-and-so. She really gets around. But I'm glad, because, like, DC had always been really weird about, letting Wonder Woman come out of the Invisible Jet's invisible closet just a little bit. Where it's like,
have you been hearing about what's been going on with Greg Rucka and Frank Cho?
No, what's been going on? Oh, the cover controversy. Yeah.
Frank Cho's off the book next issue.
Of course
because
he is.
Greg Rucka is apparently quite Nazi when it comes to showing Wonder Woman's calves or something.
But I don't think it was... Like, this is Frank Cho, who, if you know, dude gets in trouble for shit like this every couple of months. Remember before, it was... What was it? It was like the Spider-Woman cover, or like the Gwen pool, or like the Gwen cover he got in trouble for because he had, like, a big ass picture or something. The dude does cheesecake shit. It's what he's all about. He loves the TNA. Some people can handle it. Some people can't. The thing is, too, like, he was crying, oh, censorship, oh, they're friggin' Nazis at DC, they wouldn't let me do this, that, and the other. Okay, Frank, that's fine, that's cool, but you're a fucking freelance artist, though. You have to draw what they tell you to, or you don't get paid.
Yep.
That's like, it's like, maybe they treated you badly, I don't know, I wasn't there, but at the end of the day, you're a goddamn freelance artist. You're not even someone like, to bring it back to the Spider-Woman thing, remember the big controversy when they got like Milo Marinara to do a cover? And like,
yes.
and people and people got pissed off because it was so sexualized. You're not even like a famous, like, at least with Marinara, that dude is known exclusively for nudes and erotics. Like, that's his thing. The dude's like a professional porn artist. You can't even hold up that flag and be like, well, what did you expect when you hired me?
Yeah, but also to be fair to Frank, like they showed the cover and like the original drawing Frank did, and then the censored version, and really what it was you can find it online. It's just an action pose of Diana like blocking stuff with her bracelets, and the censored version is that same shot with her ass slightly cropped out.
Yeah,
like ever so slightly, and that was like the whole thing. I'm like, really? Like, what was the big deal about that?
it seemed very minor, and it was like a variant cover, wasn't it? It wasn't even like the main cover.
Yeah, exactly. And I've liked his variant covers as well, because they draw Wonder Woman who actually looks like an Amazon.
I'm very much of the mindset that for variant covers, anything should go. I can understand being very protective of like the actual cover and everything, because that's the one that's going to live forever in the wikis and everything. I would have more leeway with the covers, but that's just me. I can understand how they're like, no, this is a new era of Wonder Woman. We want to take it very seriously. We got the movie coming out. We want to cover all our bases. I don't know. It just seems silly across the board. It's almost like, you know, my sympathy for Frank Cho is running out, because it seems like he gets in trouble like this every couple months on anything he's working.
It's true.
It eventually comes down to a point where it's like, maybe it's you, Frank. Have you thought about that?
No, it couldn't be me.
No, it's the children. They're out of touch.
It's the children.
He becomes Skinner there. It's like, am I out of touch? No, it's the children. There's a meme for you. Send that to him. I'm sure he'll like that. But yeah, Wonder Woman was cool. I like the direction they're going with it. I like they're actually making Steve Trevor seem like a character you want to care about. He was desperately in need of something like this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, like, the stuff with Wonder Woman, it's all very well walked ground. The stuff with Steve Trevor, though, that's actually kind of revolutionary, to be like, no, let's actually make you give a shit about this guy for once.
Yeah.
Because, like, a lot of the Golden Age love interest, like the Vicky Vales and the Lois Lanes and everything, Steve was always just kind of a hanger-on to Wonder Woman, and for big swaths of her history, he wasn't there because he didn't make sense to be there. And now that they're doing a movie and they want to get Wonder Woman back to that classical place, they got to justify a reason for him being there. Mm-hmm. And I think they're on their way to justifying it.
Yep.
What else did you have that you want to talk about?
I had Earth 2 Society issue 14.
Oh, yes, which will be continuing now, we now know.
Yeah, and this issue had a big twist in it.
Did it now?
Yeah, so this issue was a Dick Grayson centric issue, which is really strange because we had Nightwing as well this week. And obviously he's the Batman of this universe. Yeah. And he was talking with Fury, who we actually find out is Donna Troy.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah, I think that's the first time we actually find out like her actual real name. They do a really good way of like doing it. Like, we always thought Fury was her real name, but that's her war name. Her name she uses in wartime and everything.
I like that idea. I like that idea that on Earth 2, Wonder Woman had a daughter and named her Donna Troy.
Yeah, and they're just talking and everything, and then the Ultra Humanites kids that he gets, called the Humanites, and gives powers to attack, and they fuck up everything. They take Power Girl's powers and Val's powers. They turn Commander Steel, the guy with the steel bones and everything, into an accordion.
Oh no.
They like cut him up real bad, and I think he's dead now. And then we find out that the main Humanite fire pattern is John Grayson, Dick's son.
Oh, holy shit.
Yeah.
That's some shit.
And I kind of theorized like a couple of issues back. I was like, I wonder if they're going to bring his son back, because he's been missing since the start of World's End. And
his son was such a big driving force of his character.
Is why he really became Batman.
Yeah. Yeah, most definitely. Oh, well, that sounds good. I'm glad you're liking your Earth 2s.
Yeah.
I guess there was, another handful of Civil War tie-ins this week. The Spider-Man one was interesting. Again, it had very little to do with the actual event. Instead, it was a whole story about Clayton Cole, Clash, a reformed supervillain who's working for Spider-Man, but now, he fears because Ulysses told Spider-Man, oh, this guy will turn against you at one point, and we essentially get a whole story about whether or not the prophecy will be self-fulfilling or not.
Yeah, I haven't read this one yet. I've kind of like flicked through it, and I like at the start how Spider-Man's fighting that robot that has like each appendage is like a manned robot.
Yeah.
And he's like cracking jokes about it and everything.
He's like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and I've seen lots of dumb things as Spider-Man. Yeah, I like this story because it touches a particular pleasant nerve for me. I like stories about down-on-their-luck schlubby villains, and that's what Clayton Cole really is in this story. And I like it's kind of a bit where it's like, ex-cons have a hard time starting over because they're always met by distrust and everything, even when they're brilliant, like Clayton Cole is.
Mm-hmm.
And, his parents are giving him shit. Man, the parents in this book, they are assholes, but they are so wonderfully realized assholes where it's like, yep, I know lots of parents just like that.
Yep.
Where it's like, but Clayton, why don't you start your own company? Why are you working for Peter Parker? It's like, well, because he's been good to me, Mom. He's keeping all my invention money in like a trust fund until my parole's over and everything. Oh, well, why aren't you getting married, son? You're not getting any younger. And I'm just like, yeah, I can see why this guy turned back to a life of villainy. Because everyone's giving him shit. Then he sees like one of his buddies from henching who's working with the Owl, and he's got like a big fat wad of cash and everything, and he's completely free. And it's like, yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, it's tempting. It's tempting him.
Yeah, it's tempting to the dark side there. Oh man, you know what a bad tie-in was? Choosing Sides #2.
I skipped that. I only read. Well, I'm going to be reading the Amazing Spider-Man one, and I've read the God of War one.
Yeah, Choosing Sides, man. To talk about one to stay away from. It's split into 3 stories, as these anthology books are, but the first story is itself split into 3 stories.
Oh, god damn it.
I know, and it's the weirdest one. They advertise as like, oh, go read a War Machine story of Civil War II, only that's impossible because he's dead. So instead what we get is like a bunch of characters at his funeral, and they all have the same experience, and it's incredibly dumb. It's like Miss America Chavez, where it's like, oh, I didn't know you, War Machine, but I'm still a young hero, so seeing you died freaked me out. And then Spectrum's like, oh, I didn't know you very well, War Machine, but you died, and now I have survivor's guilt. And Misty Knight, I didn't know you, War Machine, but knowing you died makes me want to get my own life in order. And the dumbest one is Storm. I didn't know you very well, James, but I'm going to stick around in Philadelphia and eat a cheesesteak and see a baseball game because of you.
What?
Yeah, I'm like, geez, this is the problem with killing off a character who is only really active in Iron Man books. We feel bad for you, guy we didn't know.
That's hilarious.
The second story is also dumb and them really stretching. You remember Goliath, who was killed in the original Civil War by the Thor robot?
Yep.
Well, we get a whole story in this issue about his nephew. Doesn't that sound like something you really want to read? Doesn't that sound like a must-read story? Like, you couldn't make me want to check that out more if you tried. So yeah, stay away from that one.
Did you read the God of War one?
Not yet, but I will. I'm sure it was enjoyable.
It was really cool. It was Hercules getting the band back together, getting all these gods from. He gets like Beowulf and Theseus. These are amazing. Theseus is a thief.
Mm-hmm.
And it's cool because you see them all like doing their things. Theseus is like about to steal something, and his phone goes off, and he's like, "Oh, it's Hercules. He needs my help." So he shoots his way out of the place, and Beowulf is just hanging out. And Beowulf has a thick Scottish accent.
Oh, nice!
And it comes through in the dialogue as well.
That's cool.
And he's just chilling, and he sees Hercules, and he's like, fuck that guy, and hangs up on him or like screens his call, and then he eventually calls him back and everything, and then him and Theseus get off to a bad start, and they're trying to one up each other and everything, and it's such a great book, and it's even better because no one else can see these new gods that are
Right,
fighting
so they think
Hercules.
Hercules is crazy.
Yeah, so there's like I can't remember what the line says, but they're like, "Oh, who's Hercules fighting?" He's like, "Oh, he's fighting no one. He's just swinging randomly at the air."
he's
Like, oh, Hercules is drunk again.
he's got to fight the evil Max Landis new god.
Yes, that's exactly who it is.
It's so Max Landis. I'm sure someone has tweeted Max Landis and been like, "Look, this guy in the comic is just you."
And then he proceeded to say why Hercules is a Mary Sue.
Now let me tell you why Hercules is a Mary Sue. Even though Hercules is like so the opposite of a Gary Stu, he is incredibly flawed.
Yeah.
In fact, I think Max Landis would like it for that reason. Hercules might be the most flawed hero in the Marvel Universe that I can think of.
The whole book is about him being flawed and like trying to make up for it and everything.
Him being not particularly good at anything but trying his ass off. Yeah, I'll totally check that out, and I'm excited because Hercules is going to be an Avenger now, so even more reason everyone should read his book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I should totally check it out. What's some other stuff? I'll kind of lightning around these last couple because I just realized we've been talking for a bit here. Daredevil #9 was interesting. It was a team-up piece with him and Spider-Man and China fighting the Triad. The cool twist, though, is that Spider-Man realizes that there's big pieces of his memory missing about Daredevil.
Huh.
Spider-Man being like, look, my mind's been tampered with enough by psychics and everything else. I know when I have missing memories, and I have missing memories about you. So I don't know if I can trust you, Daredevil. And Daredevil basically says, look, I can't tell you right now why I did what I did, but I assure you it's for a good cause.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Fair enough. Deadpool, #15. This was a Civil War tie-in. Deadpool actually goes to Ulysses in the Triskelion where the Ultimates are keeping him. And he's really mad at Ulysses for claiming to see the future. Like, that really touches a nerve with Wade. He's like, you can't see the future. You don't know what I'm going to do next. I don't know what I'm going to do next. I'm so random. You piss me. I'm going to kill you, Ulysses. And Ulysses is like, no, you're not. Because you saw the future. He's like, no, because I know you're not going to kill me, Deadpool. Because you're not that bad a guy. You're not going to senselessly kill me. Okay, fine, I won't kill you then. But can you look at the future and see what's happening with my daughter, though? I want to know that she lives happy in the future. And Ulysses is like, my powers don't work that way. Well, then what good are you then? And then he gets into a huge issue-long fight with Black Panther, and they like punch and kick each other all over the Triskelion. It's pretty amazing.
That's awesome.
And we find out that Black Panther is actually a huge fan of Game of Thrones, and Deadpool's like, yeah, I asked the future kid how it ends, and the Stark kids all get their own dragons and fight ice zombies. And Black Panther's like, if that's true, I will fucking kill you. If that's true, if you ruined Game of Thrones for me. You are so dead. But yeah, that was a fun one. Another interesting Civil War tie-in was Power Man and Iron Fist. They also come to the Triskelion to, you know, pay their respects to She-Hulk and Rhodes and all that other stuff. And Captain Marvel tries really hard to get them to join her cause. She's trying to sell...
Please, guys, no one's agreeing with me.
Yeah, she's trying to sell them on the team thing, and Luke Cage and Danny, they basically go, you know what? We've had enough of Civil Wars. The first one was shitty enough. We quit. We're staying out of this one.
Fuck you guys. We have series coming up in TV.
Yeah, really. We don't need this. It's just amazing when I'm like, wow, this is a great tie-in, and it's a tie-in with two heroes throwing up their hands and saying, we're having no part of this. That's kind of the case for all of the Civil War tie-ins, where it's like, we're tying in, but not really. Because we only had 4 months to plan this event. So, you know, so no one can actually tie in, just keep telling the stories you're telling, but pay lip service to it. And I think that was it. I think that was everything I read. I haven't read X-Men yet. I just kind of caught up on Silk. It had actually come back before with a new issue, and it being done its event, so I needed to catch up all on that.
Cool. I didn't review it, but I read the newest Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. book, which was apparently a Civil War tie-in.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
It's pretty good. Coulson is no longer a member of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Interesting.
He got kicked out by Maria Hill.
Which is funny, because she herself is in all sorts of trouble after Pleasant Hill, so she shouldn't be kicking out anybody.
Yeah, so she kicked him out, and yeah, that was pretty cool. What was the last comic I had? Oh, did you read Flash? Did you read Flash?
Didn't read Flash. I read Old Man Logan, though.
Oh, really? What was that like?
Old Man Logan. It's funny because in the last issue, Old Man Logan swears he's going to start running around and getting revenge. But this issue was all about him having nightmares, and young Jean Grey takes him all over the world and tries to show him that, everything's fine. This isn't the world you came from. All the horrible shit isn't going to happen. And then she takes him to a bar in Canada, and they hang out with Puck and Clint Barton, and they have like a party. It's actually very sweet. It's actually a very nice, very sweet story.
That's pretty cool.
You wouldn't expect it.
Flash 2 was pretty cool. Oprah Winfrey is now the new bad guy.
Shit, really?
Because no, because like at the end of the issue, like half of Central City ends up with Speed Force powers.
And you get Speed Force powers, and you get Speed Force powers.
That's pretty much what it is, and Barry's training his friend August with powers, and he gets a really cool costume. It kind of looks Rocketeer inspired. He's got like the goggles and like that shirt that buttons up the side and everything. And
cute.
Yeah, it's really cool. Last comic I had was Injustice issue 30. It's a Hawkman centric story.
I'll be damned.
We find yeah, I know. We find out what he was going after for Batman. And he goes after Mongol, and he goes after Mongol because Mongol has the last piece of kryptonite in the galaxy, and he needs to get it. And to get the ring off of him, you have to fight Mongol in half a minute of combat. And if you survive half a minute, you get it. And that's why at the end of the last issue, he was covered in blood.
Nice. Because
he survived, and then he's heading back to Earth with the kryptonite.
Right on. Nice to see Injustice still has interesting stuff to throw your way.
Yeah, I saw in the solicitations that leak for DC, that apparently Flash is going to go back in time, and we get a different universe where all this stuff. And it's kind of like what we were saying before when we were talking about it before, how like they're going to go to another universe, but something else happens. So that's going to be really cool.
Oh, wouldn't that be some shit? And I guess on that note, everyone, we can wind this show down. We've been talking for about 2 hours, Matt. Can you believe that?
God damn.
Jesus. I didn't think this show was going to be that long, but it was. Good on us. I know the energy is different because I'm sleepy and Matt's awake and with it. I don't know. Maybe people like this. More when the roles are reversed. When Matt has the high ground. Matt has the high ground. I'm the one who gets knocked into the lava. No.
Yeah, you get robot legs.
Yeah, that's fine. Damn you, Matt Obi-Wan. And I guess on that note, everyone, I can bring the show down. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, favorite, do all that other social media junk. Check us out on Facebook. Check Matt out on Fortress of Solitude. If you can't find the link, check my main page on YouTube. He's the first one up at the top.
Yep, I should be around on the comment section of this as well.
Yep, yeah, he's always around there. Oh, and also, thank Matt for timestamps now, everybody. You were all breathing down my neck about that forever. Matt finally made it happen, so you can all thank Matt for that.
About that.
Oh, were you not taking timestamps this episode?
You literally just reminded me.
Badum tish, everyone. That's fine.
It's funny because before this show started, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got to get my page up for timestamps and everything, and then I got distracted by something out, like, ooh, piece of candy.
Piece of candy. Well, I'll tell you what, again, because we're recording this early Monday on my time, this won't go up till Wednesday, so once this is done, I'll send a link to Matt that he can see so he can do the timestamps if he really wants. How about that?
That sounds cool.
That sounds good. We'll do that then. So until next time, everybody, I've been Joel.
I'm Matt.
And we will see you next time on the Comic Multiverse. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.